Hey!
Hi!
Welcome to Scripts and Giggles with Shoshanna
And Marnie.
So, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Woo,
Merry
woo,
Chrysler.
woo. Oh, God.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah, we've had Christmas.
We have had Christmas.
Yeah. Depending on when this comes out, we may also have the New Year.
Depending on where you are in the world, we've had Christmas
Yeah.
and New Year.
Yes, yeah. So yeah, I hope you had a good festive holiday season.
And we hope that you gave everyone the best gift of all.
Yourself.
Telling them to subscribe to Scripts and Giggles.
Oh, exactly, yeah. 100%.
You know, gather the family around the speakers on Christmas morning and play them all 15 hours of Scripts and Giggles.
Forget the King's Speech. You want to be...
When you can get two queens telling you about shows that you ought to watch, why would you listen to a king? What's a king to a god?
We are not saying that we are gods. We just want to give that disclaimer.
Oh, what's a god to a non-believer? Who doesn't believe in anything? Why did they feel like they had to explain what a non-believer was? It's quite clear that a non-believer doesn't believe in anything.
But, well, some non-believers believe in other things.
How can you be a non-believer if you believe in something?
But I think when you say non-believer, you're talking from a view of Christianity. So if you're not a believer in Christ, therefore you're a non-believer of that particular faith. But doesn't mean you're a believer of other things.
Personally, I think that what Jay-Z and Kanye West should have been focusing on is something else in that song. Because they don't say the title of the song enough in the song for me.
What song are we referring
No
to?
Church in the Wild.
Yeah, I need to go and listen to that song again.
Wow. Somebody is out of themselves as a non-believer. Frank Ocean's on it.
Oh.
It's from what's the name of the
Run
album?
the World?
Yeah, the one with Jay-Z and...
Run This Town.
It's called Run This Town.
The joint album they did.
Yeah?
I think so.
I feel like it's called Run the Jewels.
Oh.
Run the Jewels! It's called Run the Jewels. Run the World.
I think
Run
it's
the
Run
World of Jewels.
I think
Run the Jewel World.
Goodness me.
What's it called?
I'm trying to find the album.
It's so... I think... everyone listening at home knows what the title
It's
is.
Watch the Throne. Run the world, run the this, watch the throne. Them
Watch
talking
the throne.
themselves as king/gods.
But what is a king to a god, they said.
Yeah.
And what's a god to a non-believer?
Why did we get onto this point? Basically, if you really love listening to us, make sure to listen, to like, subscribe, and tell a friend.
And then have that friend tell another friend.
Exactly.
Kind of like how religion spreads. What are we doing this at?
We are going to do a bit of a review of the year. It's been an interesting year in general, an interesting year in TV, and we are going to run down our bops and our flops of TV. We're actually going to probably have a bit of a debate. We're going to kind of run down each one by one, a show that we've really loved and a show that we've not so loved. And then we'll probably give a short list at the end of like our top 10
Best shows of
best shows.
2022.
Yeah.
And if you want to get involved, please feel free to comment, email us.
Yeah. Just at us.
Write a note on a carrier pigeon and say to that pigeon, find those girlies. And then the pigeon will find its way, hopefully to Shoshanna's house and not mine. Already got enough birds in my house. I don't need no more birds, actually. Keep your bird. But yeah, get involved. It's going to surely be a what's the word I'm looking for? Controversial list? There we go.
Yeah. I will say, this is our disclaimer. These are both our opinions of what we think were hot and what we thought were not doing it. And it may not have your faves on it, but these are just our opinions. So...
And, you know, no one's stopping you writing your own list. Yeah. If you want to have an attitude...
No, don't get at our listeners. We love you all.
Please have an attitude if we can go there.
We want to hear your list as well.
We do.
We will definitely be putting it on our socials. Make sure that you add and comment on your faves as well. But
and we'll tell you if you're wrong.
Yeah.
Okay, we love you guys so much. And we're about to get into it. Okay, we're going to start with our least favourite shows of the year.
Yeah.
My list, honestly, has one major clanger and other two, and the rest are like, they mildly annoyed me. But
Okay.
this one made me livid.
Okay.
And it is The Watcher on Netflix.
Oh, I have not watched
Ryan
it.
Murphy, this is going directly to you, bitch.
God.
Okay, let me explain. The reason why I feel very strongly about The Watcher is in 2017 or 2018, I remember reading the article on the car about The Watcher. And I said, this is the most insane story I've ever read. Someone should make this. I spoke to one of the development execs at my company at the time. I said, we need to get the rights to this. And she read the story and she said, it's set in America. We'll never get the rights. When I tell you, Shoshanna, a week later, I go on the article and there's a little addendum saying Netflix has bought the rights.
No.
And I was like, this is so annoying. I would have done such a good job with this. Then I find out it's Ryan Murphy and I go, well, I love Ryan Murphy.
Yeah.
Sorry. Everything that he's made, bar Nip Tuck, which I've never seen.
No, I've never seen it.
Because I was too young for that show when it came out. Even Glee had its heyday.
Yeah, Glee was amazing.
American Horror Story, some of those series, some seasons really hit. Some of them not so much, but overall you kind of enjoy the experience of watching it. I haven't watched Jeffrey Dahmer because I just disagree with it
It's hard.
politically.
Yeah.
I watched a bit of Nurse Ratched. I didn't finish it, but my sister loved it. I just think Ryan Murphy, solid
He knows how to identify top shows.
showrunner.
Yeah, yeah.
The Watcher is the most Ryan Murphy show I've ever seen that had absolutely nothing to say.
Wow.
Every single... Let me explain what I mean by Ryan Murphy show. The family at the heart of it are always constantly wearing cream or white. Or
Was
like
that symbolic?
camel. Yeah. Of what? I don't know, other than that this is a family. And their house is all cream. And it just feels so empty and vapid. And I feel like he thought, oh, because it's a wacky story, like it's about this family that buy a house, move in, and they start getting letters from this person called the Watcher, who's describing things that they're doing in the house. So it's clearly watching them, but they can never are able to find out who it is. I feel like because of those twists and turns, he was like, we don't need to care about this family. And actually you do, otherwise why do you care?
Yeah.
Whether they figure out who the guy is, whether it lands. Bobby Cannavale, who plays the dad in that, brilliant.
Yeah.
He's absolutely brilliant with nothing. He has so little. And he's the only person in the show who you really get to know. And I was just so mad because it's such an interesting story. And I get the only saving grace from me to Ryan Murphy is the fact that in the article you never find out who it was.
Yeah.
So it's quite hard to end a series when you don't have an answer. But the way it ends in an open-ended kind of, ooh, what's going to happen in season 2? I was like, no.
He doesn't give you it.
This is a limited series that should have been 4 episodes instead of 8.
Oh, no.
It's way too long.
Not
I don't
that.
care about any of these characters. And if you've seen the first season of American Horror Story, which is set in a haunted house, there are scenes from that series that are basically thrown into this series. There are moments that are cheap scares for what is a show without any real antagonist. It's not a ghost story. It's not a stalker story. We never meet the... I actually would have preferred if they had made up who did it. Because it's a TV show at the end of the day. And you're using the original story as a jumping off point. So why don't you guys go, we're deciding it is supernatural, or we're deciding it is the neighbour, or we're deciding this, and tell a story. So I go back to what I said. Ryan Murphy, bitch. Meet me in the parking lot, ho.
I'm done. The thing is, when The Watcher came out, there was a lot of buzz around it. Did very well on Netflix. So
It's got a second season.
Yeah, so is it worth me giving would you watch the second season? Just for the fact that it was so open-ended for series 1?
I'd only watch the second season if it's a different story.
Well, it mean a different family?
I think it's going to be an anthology series.
Okay.
So unless it's... But this is American Horror Story.
Yeah.
You're kind of stuck. When you pick a premise where it's like, a haunted house, either you're coming back to the same haunted house every year, which is like, well, we're going to see the same ghost. This is a bit boring.
Or there's another haunted house.
Or it's a different haunted... Again, but it's the same premise.
Or the family goes on holiday somewhere, and in their holiday home becomes the haunted holiday house.
They go on a boat. Turns out the gays are trying to kill the family. I mean, everything's been done. I think it was a limited series, and seeing that it got commissioned for a second season made me deeply miserable, because why on earth are we trying to create new and exciting fresh content when broadcasters are going to re-commission someone like Ryan Murphy to make trash?
Ryan Murphy had a deal with Netflix, so
but I'd rather he do the second season of Halston, which was awful as well.
Oh my god.
It was just so bad. He's had a very hit or miss run on Netflix, and he definitely has a loyal band, like a loyal audience, which means most of his things here.
Because he's got a strong track record in terms of like the Glees and then it Talks of the World.
He's also got a brand.
Yeah.
Like, you watch the first episode of The Watcher, you're like, this is a Ryan Murphy show.
Yeah.
Everything about the way it's set up, the way the characters look, like, there's a creepy neighbour and she's in all black, she looks like a witch.
Yeah.
A stylish witch.
But still a witch.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
It was very nuts.
Yeah.
But Bobby Carnival, perfect. Loved him in it.
Bobby was in Master of None. That's why his face was so familiar.
He was in Master of None.
Yeah.
That would have been the first place I think I would have seen him.
Yeah. I just feel like he also could be in something like Grey's Anatomy, but I'm now just
He does have a Grey's Anatomy type of face.
That's why I was like, he just looks familiar.
He's a bit George Clooney-esque in that he could have been in the ER.
Yeah, exactly. But quite young.
Yeah, much younger than George Clooney, I think.
Yeah. But
drag George Clooney. You old bitch.
George Clooney looks great. Wow, you are on something. You are here to at everyone. George Clooney looks great. Okay,
I think I'm gonna watch that George Clooney, Julia Roberts film. But I don't pay for it.
No, that's one of the films that I'll happily watch on TV.
Yeah. That's a Christmas. Feels like a
Christmas film.
Gather the family. We're gonna watch two movie stars. It's
a perfect film to watch during Betwixtmas or during Christmas and New Year's. I think that's what they call it. Yeah.
I was gonna say it seems like a perfect movie for a date night.
Not really.
With your beloved. Sorry, why not? Your beloved curled up on the couch.
It's a film that you
giggling and laughing.
You Netflix and chill with. You won't finish watching the movie.
No, we will watch the movie. I don't know what you'd be doing on your Netflix and chill date.
I don't do that.
But I will watch a film from beginning to end, and then we will be dissecting it afterwards. So I hope you brought a pen and paper.
Oh god, I feel that's one of those movies that if you don't finish the end, you're not going to be that bothered.
Yeah, that is true.
So that's why I don't know if I should be watching it in the first place. But yeah. Anyway, now to my not so liked on the list. Talking of a writer who was well known for his amazing track record, who also has written quite a number of shows for Netflix. The show I'm putting on the list is...
names.
I will put the names as I talk about the show. The show I'm putting on the list is Uncoupled and is written and created by Darren Star, who is known for Sex and the City, most recently for Emily in Paris, Beverly Hills 90210. He had a track record similar to Ryan Murphy.
That bit.
This is going to be a thing for the whole episode. But Uncoupled is about a gay man who is in a long-term marriage. His partner divorces him and it is just him like seeing life after divorce. It stars Neil Patrick Harris. It also has Tisha Campbell. Mm-hmm. And the premise was interesting. I love Neil Patrick Harris. And so just seeing him in the trailers, I was like, sign me up. But the thing is, the show just so... not just melancholic because of course it's the theme of divorce, but the show didn't have much depth beyond that. It wasn't funny. It was supposed to be a comedy. And I know a comedy about divorce can be a bit touchy, but it also can be a bit repetitive. Like, the guy is left. He's faced divorce. He's all alone. And that goes on every single episode. It was incredibly cheesy. Some of the scenes were just like unnecessary, especially the sex scenes. Like, Neil Patrick Harris looks great, but I don't think I need to see any naked part of his body at all. I think it was just disappointing, and I feel like just coming off the back of And Just Like That, which was a Sex and the City remake, or I don't know, it's not prequel, sequel. I'm just seeing this very disappointing angle with a lot of Darren Star's shows. I mean, Paris is like a love-hate show as well. It lacked the depth that you could have given for a very well-talented cast. So that's why Uncoupled is on my list.
I watched the first 3 episodes of Uncoupled.
Thoughts?
In Edinburgh, I think, on the way back from Edinburgh. And I remember thinking, this is a good premise, but this is not engaging. I think you have to have written you have to be, I don't even know, a bad writer to have somebody who is a sitcom stalwart, as Neil Patrick Harris is, and have him feel so unfunny. And I feel like all the moments where the show was funny was down to him and his like natural comedic timing and like charisma. I just felt I didn't necessarily, in those 3 episodes, the story didn't move forward enough for me to keep me on my toes. And we have this conversation at work a lot about, like, can you just have a show that's like a romantic comedy about 2 incredibly normal people? And half the office falls on the, no, you need like an extra thing. It's like a rom-com with a sci-fi twist or like something. I personally think you can tell a story. If you look at From Scratch, that is just a story about 2 normal people. But your characters have to be engaging, and you really, really need to know them so you can trust in the writing. And I felt like the show couldn't make its mind up as to whether it wanted to be a fish out of water story about a man who's recently divorced, trying to get back out on the road. Then it felt like there was a bit of a mystery about why his partner left him. I was like, is that what we're going to discover over this season? Then you got Tisha Bill's character, you know, is it actually about this person reconnecting with the other people? I just couldn't put my finger on what I was supposed to be watching out for. So
and most importantly, why you should care. Like, I stopped caring. I was like, okay, boo-hoo, the guy is divorcing. The guy left you. Find someone else. You can find someone else. Look at you, are amazing. Look at you. Like, you're Neil Patrick Harris. You'll be fine.
Yeah, I think that was the other thing that didn't work. Like, both of them were so handsome. And they were trying to convince us, like, what am I going to do? I'm 40. I get it, like, in gay world, 40 is basically 99. But, like, come on.
Yeah. It was just...
You're not 40 and, like, decrepit.
Yeah. There's also been so many, like, smart, funny sitcoms about the LGBT plus lifestyle, like Will and Grace, that just have been able to... that just give so much more depth to those characters and their life. And this one felt almost mediocre, and which is disappointing because you have a gay creator, gay writer, gay leads. You would think someone would be able to add some more their life to it, because that's their lifestyle. That's their life. And it just... I don't know. It was just a bit disappointing.
And that's why it's on flop.
And that's why it's definitely on flop. Next.
My next one is gonna shock you.
Okay.
You better hold on to the chair.
Okay, go on.
Because this one goes out to Kevin Hart, you bitch.
Oh, God. Now him? Okay.
Did you ever hear of a show called True Story?
No.
It was a dramatic series led by Kevin Hart about a man who is a comedian whose brother accidentally kills his drug dealer. He goes home. He thinks he's the one who killed the drug dealer. So him and the brother cover up the killing. But then it turns out he didn't kill the drug dealer. The brother did. So then he kills his brother.
No. Is that how it... I've not seen it. I think I saw like very small snippets where like they were saying Kevin Hart is becoming a dramatic
He doesn't
actor.
kill his brother. I can't remember what happens at the end, but basically a fan has evidence that would prove that he was near this dead body, which the police have now found. So he kills the fan.
Oh my gosh.
It honestly devolves into Kevin Hart is now just out and out. I'll kill anyone who's gonna... It's obviously not called Kevin Hart in the show. But like, when I tell you, I watched this whole thing and I was like, what? Every episode I was like, huh? Billy Zane is in it? Billy Zane is in it.
Okay.
He's honestly the best part of the show, and he's in it. He's in 2 scenes in episode 2 because he's a bloody dude that they kill.
Oh my god.
Wesley Snipes plays Kevin Hart's brother, if you can even believe that in any universe.
What's the genes? The genes, something is...
Also, for some reason, Wesley Snipes is Kevin Hart's brother, different accent. Different genes, different life, completely. I said, at least make it make sense. At least make it make sense. The whole thing feels a little bit like Kevin Hart was like, I nearly lost my career over some drama, right? Now imagine a comedian about to lose his career because he may or may not have killed his brother's drug dealer. And then there's like a storyline with a woman who he may or may not have slept with, who turns out to be the brother's girlfriend, and they're both the girl and the brother have concocted this whole situation because they want to con him out of.
This sounds like a storyline.
It's a BET show.
Yeah, it's.
Doesn't it feel like a BET?
Yeah, I was going to tell you,
a Tyler Perry show.
Yeah, it sounds like a story that should have been on Power, but then they rejected it and was like, no, let's actually go with
Kevin Hart. This was, which wound me up because I wanted it to be better. This was exactly how I expected it would be.
Wait, what channel was it on?
Netflix!
Oh my god.
I bet it's still there. It was on Netflix. I said, who asked for this? Who was sitting down being like, do you know what? Kevin Hart has the chops.
I think it's...
You can't. Did you hear the people I said were in this film? Wesley Snipes. Who, honestly, I feel like they put in a wig. Billy Zane, who is the campiest drug dealer you've ever seen. And Kevin Hart. Wow. And you thought people was going to watch this and take it seriously. I think what they should have done, double bluffed us, told us it was a drama.
Yeah. You
get into 45 minutes and you're like, this is a comedy. And I'm like, psych, it was a comedy the whole time.
I mean, because doesn't Kevin Hart have like a deal with Netflix?
Probably.
So there's probably, alongside the partnership, he probably has like a couple of stand-ups and he's like, you know what I want to do with this partnership? I want to show my acting chops. So
and that exec at Netflix who had to be like, we would actually really love more stand-up if we could, trying to slowly push him away from it. But he's like, no, listen to me, I've got a really good idea. And they're like, we can't say no, but we also don't want this.
Did he write the show, or did he have
co-wrote the show, I think.
Okay.
If anyone who's actually watched this show, please comment, because I'm starting to feel like it was a fever dream and I am the only person who experienced it.
No, I do remember hearing something about like Kevin Hart taking on a more like serious role, but I also may have confused it with another show he was on. But it's interesting to see him in this, like, okay, on this show alone, and just the story and the premise sounds like what was the poor part of the show, but how was Kevin Hart's acting?
You can't take him seriously.
Okay. That's
the problem. And because the premise is so it's so campy. Oh, accidentally killing a person and you're like, it's hard. If it had been a story about a family man who's also a comedian who's just found out that his wife is dying and he's going to have to try and transition his life from comedy into being a full-time stay-at-home dad, I think you could have got more depth out of it.
Okay, yeah.
But where it's like, we're burying a body in episode 2, like, you're just like, oh, bloody hell. Honestly, just... God. And when I tell you, Billy Zane, campiest drug dealer you've ever seen. He's just like, hey girl. Like,
I can't imagine Billy Zane in that light.
He was honestly so fun. I was like, Billy Zane knows what this show is.
Yeah,
and he knows it's a joke. And why is no one just doing what... Even Wesley Snipes' performance is pure camp. The only person taking it seriously is Kevin Hart. And so he seems out of place. Get him out. Even the super fan is fucking a joke. Nobody is serious.
Everyone read the script as like, this is supposed to be a comedy. He's like, no,
it's a satire.
Yeah, and then Kevin Hart is like, no, this is my road to getting a Golden Globe.
Yeah, so, I will be getting an Oscar nom. You won't be getting an Oscar nom. You won't. Oscars are for films, first of all. About Golden Globe.
Oh, God.
Anyway, Kevin, that was a bitch move.
Oh, my God. Oh, God.
You can also catch me in the parking lot.
The parking lot's going to be packed. Based on all your reviews. Oh, gosh. Okay, mine is a similar link in terms of having very talented comedic actors. And it's something that we've reviewed in the show. I am going to put Loot on that list of flops for this year. We've already reviewed Loot, so I'm not going to go into too much detail. Listen to the review. It's definitely worth a listen. And if you're watching it on YouTube, definitely watch and listen at the same time.
Look at the picture. and don't take it eyes off
exactly. I do think it's worth a watch. The reason I put it on my list, and a lot of these shows that I'm putting on my flop list, a lot of it's down to disappointment. It wasn't the worst show in the world, but it just wasn't great. You had Maya Rudolph, which I was really excited to see in this space. The premise felt interesting, but it just lacked the depth it needed to keep me engaged throughout the whole series. If it wasn't for the fact that we were reviewing it, I wouldn't have continued watching it. It had some really great talent. I thought it would give me the same vibe as the Parks and Rec, or not The Office, but I thought it would have that same kind of comedic sitcom vibe, but this felt like it was dated. And I think that's why for 2022 this is on the more of the floppish list, but in 1992 or 2002 it would have been nearer the top.
I just want to announce that it has been renewed for a second season.
Yes, we will probably talk about series 2.
So much like The Watcher, what does it mean when shows that are not good get a second season?
Maybe it's like giving a show a second chance. Like some shows need a second chance to build its audience or build the story, or just,
that's the thing. If Loot had been more obscure in its premise or something, I can imagine giving it a second season because it's like, this thing needs to find its legs.
Yeah.
I feel like, actually, maybe you're right. Maybe in the second season they go, we need to let Maya we need more physical comedy in this.
Yeah.
We need, less of this weird back and forth with these characters. Let's streamline the team a bit more, get rid of some of these people, and let's just improv. Don't write the show.
Yeah.
Just let people improv.
Yeah.
Go, you're in the room, you need to get from this point to this point, do what you want to do.
And I think that may work. My only thing is that we will probably talk about series 2 when it comes out, but
it's because it's a network show.
Yeah, it's a network show, and the only thing I'm interested in series 2 is to see what happens with the finale with Molly.
Yeah.
And the husband or the ex-husband, and see how that unfolds. But that's the only hook for series 2. When you're watching a show that has a new series come up, you're so excited for multiple different storylines. You want to see how every single character comes back. This one, I barely care about one or two characters. So, yeah, that's why it's on my floppish list. I'm glad that we reviewed it because, but yeah.
We gave Apple a chance and they failed.
I think next year we definitely will give Apple more opportunities.
I mean, I love The Servant on Apple.
I want to watch Severance as well, which
I watched the first episode. I didn't watch it properly. I need to watch it again. But honestly, Servant, so good.
Yeah.
Can't wait for the next season. Love it lots. So Apple does do some fun things when they put their mind to it.
Yeah. Exactly.
One day I will watch Ted Lasso. So.
Yes. I thought, again, during this Betwixtmas period, I thought I will watch it, but let's see.
We'll see. My next one is going to shock you. I'm going to say that every single one.
Oh, go on. Who are you going to be calling the B word?
David Farr, you absolute bitch. I have beef with David Farr, and I hope he's listening to this. Every single thing that he's made that I've watched has been garbage. Every single thing. And do you know what he does? What? He gets IP that I'm really, really excited by. And then he just makes garbage out of it. He made a show about the Iliad. Oh, hold on, this will come to me. Helen, Troy, ancient Greece. My bag, right? My space, my area. I was so excited, and the first episode I said, why is everyone dirty? Why is it so dark? Why is it so dead? Where are the hot people? It was garbage. Then I hear someone's making the Midwich cookies, and I was very excited because we wanted to get the rights to Midwich cookies, and we couldn't because they were already taken. And I said, I'm watching this out of spite because we wanted the IP, but 2 out of I'm really excited to see what they do. And then lo and behold, I watched the soapiest horror I've ever seen in my life. First of all, and second of all, who wrote it? David fucking Farr.
When I saw it, by the way, I haven't watched it fully. I saw the advertising for it. It looked trash.
So bad.
Trash.
So bad that I was like, based on this advertising, what is the genre of the show? Because the Midwich Cuckoos is about a town that's suddenly infested with these, like, creepy kids. Creepy kids, as a premise, always good.
Yeah.
This show made it not good. Some of those kids, honestly, shout out to some of those kids because they were scary.
Yeah.
Some of those kids really were like, I'm an alien girl. Got it. The adults, the music, the set, the special effects, the editing, the directing, not one of those things were good. Keely Dawes from The Bodyguard. So we know what she can do.
Oh, yes.
We know what this bitch is about. Giving you 10% of a performance for the whole thing. I said, Keely, is this what your Golden Globe winning husband, Matthew McFadden, and you've been discussing this whole time? Sorry to bring your husband into it, but I have to.
That's their bedtime talk. Pillow talk.
Midwich Cuckoos.
He's talking Succession.
He said, go get the bag. Don't worry about if the show's good or not. I'm doing the work for the both of us. I love Keely Dawes. I think she's an incredibly talented actress. This wasn't it.
No.
Then she just had nothing. She had nothing to do.
That's so bad.
Just cuts of her being like. honestly, I just wanted to jump off the cliff. And I should have known it was going to be. David Farr's never made anything good, and I stand by that.
What? Yeah.
And when I'm at work and people are like, oh, what David Farr? No.
What if you ever get to work with him?
No, I know. I would actually respect, and I've never done this before, take me off the project. Take me off the project. I don't respect the writer. I do not think they can deliver. Take me off the project. Someone told me something. Like, someone mentioned a show and they're like, oh, do you know who wrote that? And I was like, oh, I still stand by what I said. I'm not interested. So, David Farr, don't even meet me in the parking lot. Watch your back. 'Cause one day you'll be, I don't know, reading a book, mowing the lawn, and then you'll just hear, Pong, back of your head. Back of your head with a golf club.
Goodness
Enough
me.
ruining TV shows. Stay away from the IP.
Wow.
That's all.
Wow.
Also Sky, because I also want to...
I'll say drag Sky, please.
I want to drag Sky. You should not have picked up horror IP if you don't want to make a horror. I don't doubt all of the mellowing out of the horror tropes of that show came from the company, came from the commissioners, came from Sky. Why are you trying to put a horror on primetime TV? Why is this going on Sky 1 at 8? What are you talking about?
The minute you said dial down, watered down, I said that is Sky all over.
I said this is crazy. And I know it must not be that easy to extricate your show from a commissioner once they've greenlit it. But they must have known when they were giving the feedback and notes on episode 1 that what Sky wants to make and what they want to make is not the same show.
That being said, Sky has been able to push the button, push the...
Name another horror.
I'm not horror, like I'm talking more like...
They need to stop making horrors.
Most of the horrors that they take is from HBO. Like if they ever take a horror, it's going to be from HBO. It's an
The
exclusive.
Baby.
Oh, God.
Exactly. The Baby equally, you didn't know what you were doing with that. You said first episode, and I would say The Baby did not suffer from what Midwich Cuckoo suffered from, because they really went in terms of the horror tropes in episode 1. Then they said, we don't know what the show is beyond episode 1. We don't know what the show is beyond the premise. And somehow, here are 8 episodes.
I mean, I was going to say Landscapers was not a horror. It
No,
was
it's just weird.
It was weird. It was a weird show. And the only other thing I was gonna say, if they're ever gonna venture into horror, it's because they're gonna acquire a show from HBO. And let HBO do it. They'll put it on Sky Atlantic, and put it at a late time, and they can wash their hands off it. It's not
The Outsider. I watched it on Sky. HBO commission. HBO. Yeah. Brilliant show. Yeah. They lent into it because they can lean into it. If you can't do it, don't do it.
Yeah. What I'm saying is that in terms of like dialing down and making it for primetime television, they did Gangs of London, but that again, that was a Sky Atlantic. I haven't watched. I watched episode 1 of series 1. That was so violent. The crunching of the bones.
I'll go back.
Was enough.
Maybe it's not garbage. That show had more action than it had any substance.
That's the whole
And
point.
I could not get beyond episode 1.
Yeah. Yes.
And so some people in there that I just didn't buy were gangsters. In a gangster show, I've got to believe that you're a gangster. And some of those characters, I said, now what are you doing in here? Now what are you doing here? And I shouldn't be watching the show thinking, no.
Yeah, I actually want to believe. I want to be scared of you.
I want to be scared.
But also, the whole thing about gangs, I'm done. I can't. The only show you're acquired with.
Somehow managed to get someone from Peaky Blinders who is another gangster show and make him less gangstery than he was in that. Congrats. Anyway. Sky, your flop of this year for me in terms of channels.
I don't really rate Sky when it comes to TV. We will probably talk about more Sky shows next year, but a lot of them will be very much adjacent to HBO.
Okay.
Very much adjacent. Like the shows we talked about, like White Lotus, is available on Sky in the UK.
It's an HBO show.
It's an HBO show. So, but don't worry, Sky they'll put their stamp on
Succession,
it.
HBO show.
They'll put their stamp on that one.
Of course.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you?
Yeah. Anyway, on to my list. From a big company, BBC.
Is this a bop or flop or a whistle on flops?
Whistle on flops. Yeah. I've still got 2 more. This is my second to last. It is also linked to the issue with writing, which you kind of mentioned with Midwich Cuckoos.
Yeah.
But it's actually more for the lack of writing. It's Conversation with Friends. Conversation with Friends. Oh my goodness. Conversation with Friends is written by Sally Rooney. And if her name sounds familiar, it's because she is the author of another book called Normal People that was adapted by the BBC and was a massive hit during the pandemic. And so the follow-up is not related to Normal People, but as part of her...
It's her first novel.
Yeah. Her first novel was Conversation with Friends. And so this has been adapted for a show. It starred Joey Alwyn, Jemima Kirk, our friend, Jessa, of course.
Got to back our girls.
The problem with Conversation with Friends is the exact same problem I had with Normal People. But too damn long. And the thing is with Normal People, everyone loved it because it was so subtle. It was just great drama, writing. We were in the pandemic. Anything was amazing at that time.
It was just a really great show for white people to be white in.
I didn't say that. For Normal People, it hit at the right time or the wrong time, but with the right audience to be able to capture it. Yeah. Conversation with Friends, we're out of a pandemic, we're 2022. Yeah. The show was too damn long, too damn slow, and didn't do anything. If you watch the show, it was a lot of slow scenes where people just looked at each other, and it's just, you could see the sexual tension between the characters, but no one was actually saying anything, no one was actually doing anything. And at the end of each episode, it'll fade to black and the credits will roll, and you'll be like, is that it? And that happened for about 5 or 6 episodes. I have to put my hand up and say I didn't finish watching the series because I got fed up. And it's very rare for me to not finish watching a series, even if it was a massive flop. This one, I couldn't finish it. And that's why it's still on my continue watching list on iPlayer and why I'm putting it on this list. It was bad. And I don't know what the next series is, but I beg of you, it's a discussion I think we had in one of our initial discussions before we launched a podcast about the role of writers in
authors.
The role of authors in writing shows, and whether you need to be able to give your book and your passion, your baby, to an actual professional showrunner who can actually make a show and build it into something that's worth watching. And I had a similar issue with Everything I Know About Love, which I may even add to our honourable list because it had a similar issue with writing. But if there's any more shows that BBC will adapt from Sally Rooney, Sally, maybe you need to step back. I beg of you, get some real writers and write dialogue. Write dialogue, because I'm telling you, I feel like I was reading the script as I was watching the show because it was so dry.
I feel like probably she's better suited to writing a play than a TV show.
Maybe.
Because there's like long, like conveying stuff in a silence is so quintessential to a play where dialogue is like the most important thing, so lack thereof means something. I don't know. Normal people, I never understood the hype.
Yeah.
It was exactly 4 episodes too long. But when they go to uni, that should have been where the series ended, because it was just then the same conversation over and over for 4 more episodes. Am I glad that they launched the careers of those 2 people? Yeah. I don't care. I'm not happy or sad for them. I really just feel like the people that fell in love with that show saw themselves in that show, and I just didn't see myself in that show.
Yeah.
Like I said, it was 4 episodes. It was actually 6 episodes too long to be a show that I saw myself in.
It was a 12-episode show, wasn't it? Yeah.
Because from when I liked you and you didn't like me, end of the programme. I'm not waiting around. I'm not trying to wear you down. Do you like me, yes or no? Okay, bye. But
it's all about, it's supposed to reflect relationships. It probably reflects situationships of today.
Yeah.
Than anything else.
Not my experience, hun. So, I'm sorry to all of you girlies who are out there letting men play you. Watch normal people. No. I'm just saying, it wasn't, I feel like, if you've been in anything that confusing before in your life, watching that is going to give you PTSD.
Yeah, true.
I didn't enjoy it. I didn't enjoy it, sorry. I just didn't. I didn't even enjoy the part where they're falling in love, because it was still in secret. Yeah. Like, I was just staring, yelling at the screen in my head, being like, you need to want better for yourself. You gotta want more for yourself, girl. But it's fine, because you're a kid, I get it. But being 24, or whatever, 21, 22 years old, still doing the same old thing.
No. Can't.
Get a job.
And oh yeah, and I forgot to mention, conversation with friends was about 2 Dublin college students. Wow, very similar to
literally.
Yeah, Francis and Bobby, and the strange and unexpected connection they forged with a married couple. So basically, it's normal people but adding a married couple and an affair. Done. Honorary mentions from your side?
I've one that I'm on the fence about, because I did not enjoy the experience of this. I'm just gonna say it. You Don't Know Me.
Oh.
From the BBC.
Yeah.
I think Sam is a good actor.
The lead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually thought the girl was quite good as well.
Yeah, yeah.
I feel like everyone's performances, to an extent, were good. I just thought it was so measly a story. And again, ultimately the story was woman gets in trouble, man tries to save her, ends up going to jail for her. I mean, next was my feeling. It's only 4 episodes, but it still felt like 4 episodes of my life that I didn't get back.
Yeah, it felt longer than it needed to be.
So long.
And okay, if you've watched You Don't Know Me, especially the endings, for some people they found the ending satisfying. I found it frustrating.
I quite like that we don't know.
Really? Really, you don't know me.
But I honestly, by episode 2, the premise of he's in court telling that story, I was like, first of all, there was absolutely nowhere you're standing in a court of law doing all of these.
Oh, fam, no.
A 4-day long story. This would never happen. No. And so it made the court case feel like it didn't have any stakes to me.
Yeah.
Because it's just it's just a frame of being like, well, you want to know what happened at the beginning? None of us could have seen what was coming, but when you fall in love, sometimes it happens like that. Shut up! You're fighting for your life here. What do you mean?
It just wasn't.
Where's the lawyer?
Yeah.
He's like, I'm defending myself. No, you're
not. Please, in reality, please. I mean, we may talk about this later on, but next year even, there's just the whole idea of having black shows where it's all about guns, crime, gangs.
It's also written by a white man. Let's not forget.
It just gets really tiring. It's so tiring and exhausting to watch.
What was special about that story that deserved the commission? I just don't get it.
Nothing.
There are so many brilliant black writers pitching shows that don't get across the line, and then somehow you picked up this very generic story written by a white man and said, here you go, here's your diversity, because we're going to cast this black cast.
The thing that would made it more interesting if it was a completely different ethnicity. And I don't even think that'd be interesting. For me, the thing that I think may have got the commission is the way that they story told, and the whole like flashback idea. But that's still not original.
No.
So I don't know.
The unreliable narratorness of him,
Yeah.
but that doesn't really kick in until you get to the end.
No.
So you should have actually brought that stuff forward.
Yeah.
I think he should have half at the beginning been telling his story, and then he should have been cross-examined and they've been like, everything that you've just told us isn't true. And then we're like, oh, who is this guy? And then you end, you don't know me. Dun dun dun.
Yeah.
On to episode 2, and you're like, who is he?
Yeah. The thing is, I watched a very similar premise. It was a Netflix show, but it was actually a Swedish show, and it was about the origin story of Spotify, which is it's very interesting.
Yeah.
And I found it a really interesting premise. I mean, the story was okay, and the acting was decent, and I was watching it dubbed, which I prefer to watch the subtitles.
Yeah.
But anyway, I liked it that they took the show, each episode was from the perspective of one person within the story, and then at the end of each episode they were like, well, actually the person that just told the story before were lying, and this is actually the real story, and the next episode we're going to like that person's story, which I really like, that type of adaptation into like each of the episodes evolving.
There's a show called Fakes as well on Netflix, which is about two girls who ran a sort of fake ID empire.
Yeah.
First episode is told, and you're like, it's quite an ordinary story, I guess. You get to the end, and they cut to one of the other girls.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, what did she tell you? Yeah, she's a fucking liar. And you're like,
oh
my god! Coming to the second episode, you see the exact same event, but from a different perspective. Yeah. And I was like, that's very clever.
That's really clever, yeah.
That's a great thing for your end of your episode 1, because now I want to know what the rest of the
And it keeps you going. Yeah, that was Fakes you're talking about, and the show I was just talking about was the playlist. But yeah, I think he just...
So it's not... In and of itself, it's not inventive to just go, this is a story about an unreliable narrator. I think it still has to be a great story, and I just felt like the story in You Don't Know Me was just really weird.
I prefer if it was a documentary.
It's not real. And there's nothing about it that felt real.
It was giving me, what's the honey trap documentary about the girl that it was actually a program. My Murder. It's an old show, yeah. It's got a young John Boyega. Yeah, it's a very old show. So a chance meeting with a girl leads to a murder as a teenage boy is engulfed by a web of lies in this gripping drama.
Isn't that what Blue Story is a little bit as well?
I haven't watched Blue Story. Yeah. But yeah, my Murder tells the true story of the honey trap killing. So that's what it was giving me the vibes of.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Honestly, I think that might be my biggest flop of the year. Just thinking about the fact that was a show that ultimately had nothing really positive to say or interesting to say about the community, was not written by the community, and was and also to hear them talk about it was buried when it came out on iPlayer.
Yeah.
And really got a second lease of life when it went to Netflix. So that says all you need to know about how committed the BBC are to telling stories of people of colour.
Yeah.
It's not a great one for the industry.
No. It's not going to be up there in terms of highlights.
So
I've got one other worst one, but I've got 2 honourable mentions.
Let's hear it.
So the other worst one, you haven't watched it. I talk about it every now and again because if you know me, I love reality dating shows. And I will have a couple of reality dating shows in my best, but my worst was The Bachelorettes.
Ooh.
So I've talked about the Bachelor franchise quite a few times. They have a number of different tentpole shows. The Bachelor, which is probably the most famous one, and they have The Bachelorette, which is the female version where you have one female lead and she has a number of suitors. This particular series, they had 2 bachelorettes competing for the same guys, partly because the Bachelor before broke up with the 2 girls at the end of the episode and basically left them all alone. So they were like, we need to give you a series. So the bachelorettes they had for the 2 of them, it was Gabby and Rachel. It was a very disappointing series, and also disappointing for so many different reasons. One, from a female empowerment angle, because the whole point of the show was to kind of show like these 2 girls, they're best friends. They became really close because of the trauma they experienced, quote unquote, from The Bachelor. These 2 girls are on the search to find love. That was how it was presented. But then they end up having to kind of almost not compete, because I don't think they wanted to have that kind of competition element, but ended up being the guys having the choice of them versus the other way around. So I think it got halfway through the series where guys were saying, well, you know, if you were the only bachelorette, I wouldn't be on this show, like, to one girl.
Oh.
And then telling the other girl, like, you're a bit rough around the edges.
Oh, God.
And it became, like, a comparison of the two. Like, one's more refined, because Gabby is definitely more outspoken and very fun. And then Rachel was definitely more the American sweetheart, like, type of girl, but I think she was a bit unhinged. And so it ended up, at one point they had to actually pick the guys they wanted. So they had to, like, split the group up. I think it was like 20 guys, and they each had 10 guys each. Over the course of the series, they eventually picked their final person. But I tell you now, at the end of the year, they are not together with their final suitors. Oh, no. One girl, guy that she chose, Rachel, the guy that she chose was Tino. He ended up cheating on her.
Lovely.
Yep. And then the other guy, so it was Eric, was chosen by Gabby. They've broken up. You could tell it was not a serious relationship. No one actually wants to get married. They didn't know each other because also there was split and competing against two girls. They didn't actually have time to get to know each other as a relationship. Mm-hmm. And so whereas a normal bachelor or bachelorette season will have a certain period of time for you to build your relationship, get to know them, meet the parents, have your homestays, have your overnights, and then get engaged. These people were doing it in half the time with barely any knowledge of who the person was, and still had engagements at the end. So it was a very disappointing series. I'm all about the love. There was too much drama, too long, and too many bachelorettes. So that one, I know you haven't watched it, but I will say you should, well, The Bachelor this coming...
You said it was a miserable... You just said it wasn't a very good season.
It wasn't, but I do love the franchise because it's like a pendulum. One year it could be terrible, but the next year you may get someone really interesting. So I would definitely put that on, not the list to watch for this year, but maybe next year there may be some good ones.
Okay.
I'll let you know if we can talk about it, if it's worth us talking about it.
So should we move on to our honourable mentions?
The bad or honourable ones. I've got one.
You go for your bad.
My bad ones. Okay, 2. I don't know how you feel about it. The first one was Partner Track. I don't know if you ever watched that.
I had put this in my watch list, and then I think I saw that it had been cancelled, and I thought, no. I'm not about to invest in a show that's going to be over in 6 episodes, so no. Yeah,
the reasons why I have this in honourable mentions for my worst is because they were both disappointing. Partner Track was very disappointing. I was so excited. It's about a Asian female lawyer who is on the track to become a partner.
Really?
And basically... Isn't it in the name? And she's working hard. She has to compete against these like frat boys basically, and it's just showing her life balancing being an Asian American and balancing her culture with her lifestyle and finding love and being in this high pressure job. And it was just a disappointing watch. It wasn't depth in the writing. Like a similar issue that Scandal had in terms of Kerry Washington just bouncing between 2 white boys. The lead just bounced between 2 white boys. And if you've been on TikTok, you've been seeing also some of the GIRLies really getting at Mindy Kaling for doing a very similar thing for Indian American female leads. It had a very similar annoying premise. So
I wonder if it's easier to sell a show about an Asian female if the 2 love interests are white. Similarly, if it's easier to sell a show with a black female lead if the main love interest is white than it is if that person is a person of colour.
Maybe, yeah.
I mean, you say all of that and then Insecure, not one white love interest.
No, not one. And we were all wanting White J to come. If you know Awkward Black Girl, you know Awkward Black Girl.
Justice for White J.
Where's White J, man?
Where is he?
Yeah.
So maybe that immediately blows out all that shit out of the water. But sometimes I have to think, is this a network thing? Because it's crazy that you only ever see that. I mean, I guess she's got to have it as well. No white. She didn't have any white love interests.
No. But
that show was cancelled.
That show was cancelled. And I also don't know too much about who created this show, but it was just disappointing. Maybe some of that is that whole preconception that you need like a white lead to get the show
I also
greenlit.
think you just have to keep your and I also think sometimes it's the politics of the person making it.
Yeah.
But if you're going to do that, I think you have to pepper the show with people who don't also do that.
Yeah.
So don't have a black female lead, for example. All her friends are white and they date white men, and then she's only dating white men. Unless you're making a statement about the fact that she lives in a place where there are no black people. It just feels very much like you're pushing this narrative that, like, to find true love, you have to date interracially.
Yeah.
When that's not actually
the
the
case,
norm.
yeah.
Like, you watch TV, you think everybody's in an interracial relationship.
And then you open your eyes and look,
not true.
I mean, there's probably more interracial relationships in society than it was 50 years ago, but it's still not the norm. It's not the most popular, no. Yeah, my second honourable mention for worst was Inventing Anna.
I had Inventing Anna on my list.
Oh!
My short list.
Oh, for best or worst?
Well, actually, initially my list was just things I'd seen.
Oh, yeah.
I have to admit, I thought the story was really interesting.
Yeah.
But maybe that is unfairly making me skew the series as interesting, when actually I remember watching the series and being like, this is nuts.
Yeah.
And I remember my main takeaway from that series is that, like, Shonda Rhimes cannot tell this kind of story.
No, and that's the disappointing part of it. Again, these themes are around the idea of me being disappointed. Because when I saw the show, I saw Shonda Rhimes was behind it. I was like, sign me up. Mm-hmm. And the premise is interesting as well. And after watching the show, I was like, I really just prefer to watch a documentary. And I think Disney Plus has a documentary about this. So
I actually went away and read the article.
Yeah,
I went away and read the article.
Yeah.
I was more compelled by the journalist and the story that she was writing than I was by the actual story in the series, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Julie Garner as Anna Dovey, though, A+ acting.
For real?
I think if you've seen her in other things, it's a massive departure for her.
Okay.
And honestly, she's up there with unhinged characters.
Shit, the character, the actual real life person is unhinged, no doubt. I think for me, she was giving me caricature.
But she was a character. I felt like that was...
if that was her premise, then
I think that's the only thing that kind of worked for the show that made it feel campy. And I wish maybe that it should have just gone full camp.
Yeah.
It was half... Yeah, I don't know. It was all over the place.
It was, and that's why it's on my honourable mention for flops this year. I'm still super excited about anything that Shonda Rhimes brings out. You know, I love Bridgerton. I love all the other stuff that she's got going on. I also love the classics with the Grey's Anatomy, the scandals, and how to get away with murder. But this one just didn't meet the mark.
So that's all our flops and honourable mentions. Now we need to move into our honourable mentions for the tops, and then the top.
Yeah.
One of my honourable mentions for the top 10 list was Selling Tampa, which came out this year.
Okay.
Selling Tampa is got a special place in my heart because I remember sending you voice notes because you'd already watched it. You told me to watch it, and I think I voice noted you at the end of every single episode that I watched. It, to me, had a lot more, I don't know, organic drama, shall we say? In that you come into the episode, do you come into the series and you come into the series and the main owner is trying to open a second office.
Yeah.
And needs someone to be in charge while she's at the second office. So the girlies are kind of vying for, like, which one of us is going to get it. So you've got that drama going on, and then you've got their interpersonal stuff. And then she finds out she's pregnant, and it's a whole thing. And I enjoyed it. I don't know. It's hard to say as much as I enjoyed the first season of Selling Sunset, because that was the first.
Yeah.
And, like, now we have the Selling the OC. Like, they kind of follow the same format.
Yeah.
But as a group of women, all, like, black women of colour running a real estate agency, granted they weren't selling 9 billion. How much was that girlie's, the one that she couldn't sell?
40 million?
Yeah, 40 million pound homes. They were selling houses and putting their kids through school, supporting their partners, all of this stuff. Like, they were boss bitches, and I hope it comes back. I don't think it will.
Yeah.
But, you know, it deserves an honourable mention.
I will co-sign Selling Tampa. I really enjoyed it. And yeah, I remember telling you about it because it was just so exciting and almost refreshing to see black women in that space.
Mm-hmm.
From someone who has viewed houses before and properties and seen, like, gone and spoken to estate agents, you don't see many black people, and to add that on top, black women in that business. And so it was just nice to see that representation. Plus, yeah, the drama was organic. It felt like there was beef, but it wasn't like the producers who just threw something in, or like it wasn't also like a long running beef where everyone was just angry at a Christelle type of character, like with Selling Sunset. Christine.
You tried to merge her with Chriselle.
But it was, oh yeah, both of them, Chriselle and Christine. But yeah, it's a shame.
My queen.
Yeah, goodness me. Good. When series 6 comes out.
Oh my god, we're already at 6.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah. I think we have. When it comes out, we'll talk about it. But I found Tampa very refreshing. It's a massive shame that it's not coming back for series 2. Because I think there was like issues around it, because I think there were so many different storylines that were set up for a new series, like what I was mentioning before about Lutz and how I don't care to watch series 2, whereas this one I could have watched it. So yeah, I hope the girls are doing well though, making their money, doing what they need to, and they dressed amazingly well, and it felt natural. I felt like that was more believable than what Sunny Sunset did.
Some of those outfits are not practical.
No.
Most of those outfits actually are not practical.
No.
They've never once sold a house in those outfits.
No, but it looks great. Like, really do.
What's your first honourable mention?
My first honourable mention, actually, talking of reality, I'm using the whole subgenre of UK dating shows this year.
No, you can't do that.
What do you mean?
I'll put an entire genre in.
Okay, I'll put 2 shows within. No,
put one and then you can mention the second one afterwards. You can have as many honourable mentions as you want, but you can't smash them all together.
But the thing is,
name one now.
The one was Married at First Sight UK. I thoroughly enjoyed the series. It was long at times. It got stretched out, especially towards the end when you kind of knew where the outcome of the couples were. But I'm telling you, this series gave so much drama. Each character, each personality had brought something to the table in terms of pushing the story along. You saw how the relationships evolved and developed. And it's a shame that we only got one successful marriage out of 5 or 6 of them. But it was such an enjoyable series. And I remember watching the first series of Married at First Sight UK, and it was terrible. And the only drama was that one of the guys was still on a dating app and cheated on, one of the guys was still on a dating app and the wife found out. And that was as much as the drama. And now, given the success of the Australian format, the UK has really upped its game.
Vaccine.
Oh my goodness. I'm not ready because I didn't even watch the last series of Australia. But I feel like the UK has taken the Australian one and just ran with it. And I really enjoyed it. And, that's why I wanted to give the shout out to Married at First Sight UK, even though there were some problematic characters, George, Kwame. But the show itself was enjoyable and eye-opening about relationships. And I think that's a good thing about reality dating shows. It's entertaining, it has romance. And for some of these girls out there, give you some nice life lessons in terms of relationships, situationships, and what you should look out for in terms of red flags with men.
All of the men on there.
Problematic.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Oof. Oof. Even the gay ones.
Yeah, all of them.
Last season, the gay couple, perfectly fine, no trouble.
Yeah, they broke up though recently.
Well, that makes sense. They were massively different people.
Yeah. Wasn't there like a massive age gap as well? Yeah.
And the one from Ireland loved Ireland so much and didn't ever want to leave.
Yeah.
And I was like, how's that going to work?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. And then just...
Rip.
Yeah. Just another shout out. When I say the UK reality dating genre, I want to give a shout out to Love Island this year as well.
Wow.
Because for people that follow Love Island UK, the last series, especially during the pandemic, it suffered. Love Island South Africa, where they went to South Africa for that winter season, flop. Absolute flop.
You know, we're having another winter one.
It's another winter one coming, but it's gonna have Maya Jama as the host.
Who honestly is more in line with the people that we were pitching to take over as hosts.
She was. Yeah.
So.
And yeah, it's a new host because I think.
Even though I do find her quite annoying.
Yeah, I know. ITV definitely heard some people's prayers because some people were definitely on their knees praying for a new host. So I'm excited to see, even though I'm not here for winter Love Island, because
it could be good.
It could. I just feel like
you just need a good bunch.
Of course, yeah.
You need a good bunch. It doesn't matter where you shoot it.
Yeah.
I think
it's time of the year.
Yeah,
though.
I do think that the summer Love Island has become such a part of our summer culture.
Yeah.
Like we're all poised, ready to be like at home, 9 p.m. go watch Love Island. It's a little bit different in the winter, but it actually should work better in the winter because why are we home at 9 p.m. in the summer just so we can watch Love Island?
Yeah,
it's a bit weird.
That was the thing. That it used to be a massive chokehold with people. They're like, "Oh, I have to leave now. I have to go and watch Love Island." Either way, I'm really excited to see like the new series, but I do want to give a shout out to this series because I think it really rejuvenized the franchise and made you want to continue watching. It made some amazing winners and stars such as Ekin-Su, who I think is on track to almost be as big as Money May and Davide. Thoughts?
He gave her a promise ring.
I know. So
that's my thought.
Yeah,
what does that mean?
Nothing. There's a lot of people out there who are thinking Ekin-Su and Davide's relationship is fake. And then most recently, Ekin-Su put a post that showed her ring finger with a ring. It didn't look like an engagement. A Cartier ring. It didn't look like an engagement ring.
It wasn't an engagement ring.
But a lot of people were getting very excited thinking it was an engagement ring. And I would have been very shocked and a bit worried and also believing the hype that this was a fake relationship if it was. But it was a promise ring.
I actually would have believed it less if they got married.
Really?
Like, would you really marry just to prove that this isn't a fake relationship?
Yeah. If you know
Davide
your bag
doesn't strike me as a person who would do that.
But I think they're also very business savvy. They know that the bag is bigger with the two of them together.
Wow.
Yeah. So we'll see how the relationship ends up. There's still quite a few of them still together. So Ekin-Su and Davide, Tasha and the other guy, and Dami and India. They're all still together.
Dami and India are cute.
They're cute.
I actually see big things for them.
Yeah.
Tasha, that dude whose name we got.
What is the name?
What is his name? Tasha and Bill.
No, you can't just randomly.
David.
Tasha and
Eddie.
Andrew. Jesus. Tasha and Andrew, they're still together.
They just did a show on ITV where they had to sing a Christmas song to raise money, and it I would say if you're at your computer right now, type in Love Island crew singing on ITV because it's so bad.
No, really? Is it as bad as when India did the recorder? Because that made me...
It is, because there is a moment, basically, Antigone starts, off key already.
Oh, she's a singer.
Please. Apparently anyone can be a singer. Antigone starts, off key already. Time for Andrew to come in. Oh, and they're doing Last Christmas as well, which is already quite a hard song to just sing. And he comes in too early. So he's like, Merry Christmas. I rapped. And he's talking. He's not singing. And then here comes Luca. I rapped it up after him because he came in too early. Then they're just looking at each other.
Oh my
Then here
God.
comes Antigone trying to save the song. I was like,
I really need to watch
perfect
it.
Train wreck.
I need to watch this.
Perfect train wreck. And then they're all singing together. Oh my goodness. Oh no. Not one singer amongst them. Antigone, you have to explain to us what you're dealing with, because now I don't believe you are singing at all.
I remember when at the Love Island reunion, she was there going, I want to release my single. No one cares who you are.
She performed her song and she had Danica on stage. It was just her and Danica doing a little two dance together. Honestly, Danica wiped the floor with her because she's a dancer. Like, why would you even put yourself through that? She's a joke.
It was just
Antigone's actually a massive practical joke on us.
Yeah. But yeah, this series, it worked so well because there were so many great characters who were fearless. They did not care about their image. Ekin-Su won because she did not care how she looked, especially from the beginning. She came to get the men. She knew who she wanted. She was like...
She said, I'm not here to make friends.
Exactly.
Just, to
Exactly.
become the mother of the group.
Yeah. So the reason why I put the wholesome genre.
Let's not forget, may the best heartbreaker win.
Oh yes.
I remember that the other day. I said,
But the best heartbreak. The way they were going back up. I wish it had stopped at that point.
That is a movie.
That is
moment. Best acting I've ever seen.
And when they break up, someone's gonna use that line in the breakup.
Well, the
speech.
best heartbreaker did win, didn't they? Because guess what? You're out in the cold. I'm keeping the dog. Wow.
So yeah, I think that this series
that was a
so well.
Brilliant Castle War.
Absolutely.
Everything that happened, you were like,
mess,
oh no.
Mess. I'm so happy, and they kept it short. They kept that Castle more short because they knew, you know what, we're at our peak.
Because people are messy immediately.
Yeah, absolutely.
Usually they have to drag it out because it takes people a while. They're like, oh, but I really do like her. I really do like her.
Bring her back.
Andrew said, I'm kissing the first girl.
Bring them all back.
I'm kissing the first girl. I'm licking her tit or whatever. So many great moments. When we do our cultural moments, some of those moments are going to be up there.
So yeah, definitely the UK dating reality show really got up there. It really competed worldwide, and people were talking about Love Island UK, Maths UK. Like, it was up there. So that's why I give the genre a highlight and an honourable mention.
Keeping in theme with the reality TV genre, my next honourable mention is The Ultimatum.
That's got mine on my list as well.
The Ultimatum, which I forgot was at the top of this year as I was going through my viewing activity on Netflix, and I said, what a messy show.
So messy.
What a messy show. That show can't even come back because it was so messy.
It's coming back, but in a different way.
It was so messy that, like, I actually feel like, how are you even going to convince people to come on?
Yeah. That's why I didn't understand from the beginning. If you were in a relationship and you said, I want us to go on this reality dating show called The Ultimatum, break up. Break up with me.
That girl. Sorry, can we just remember? Everyone please remember the white couple, the girlie who was desperate to kiss that black guy and he wouldn't kiss her, then she got mad. Then was like, found out that her partner had been messaging girls from the club.
Oh my gosh.
Then he proposed to her. They got married at the end of the show. Came back for the reunion and she was pregnant.
Fam, you couldn't write that. You couldn't make that stuff up. You couldn't make it up.
There was one couple I said, this is done.
Yeah.
Her friends were like, we don't like him.
Yeah.
We've never liked him for her. Everything was saying this is not going to work. And they got married.
There was one that when they made the decision at the end of the episode and they were like, yes, we want to stay together. And he's like, don't worry, I've got the priest ready. I was like, this guy is manipulative.
Beyond manipulative.
Or she was pregnant beforehand. She was pregnant by then.
Also, like, I watched like a recap. Someone else did a YouTube video. And seeing all of those bits again, I was like, no, these two people are made for each other because she loved the mess.
Yeah. You
don't get with someone who would do all of that stuff to you, where if you aren't in yourself a messy person. And I say that because there was one point where the girls all had drinks, and she was going to the bar. I can't remember his name. The black guy she was in a couple with. She was going to his girlfriend. Yeah, we kissed. Yeah, he said I'm really cute, and he said I'm really special. Like, purposely trying to goad her and be like, I've done this with your man, I've done that with your man. And I said, this bitch messy. This is a messy bitch. And do you know what? You deserve your man. Yeah. Who never mentioned, by the way, that he kissed the girlie that he was in a couple with. Everyone was messy. Everyone. Then when they came back for the reunion, Ray, an old dude who was supposed to go on their little trip together, never went on the trip. Ray had a girlfriend now.
Oh, yes. Because she's like, I've just discovered my identity. I was like, rah, you can't make this stuff up.
Everything was crazy.
The casting on point. The casting was on point with this one. On point. Because you couldn't make that stuff up. I don't think even the producers knew this was going to happen.
Oh, at the ceremony when the girlie was like, I haven't really matched with anyone here. I don't want to be with anyone. Like, I'm proposing to you right now. And he said, let's get married. And then the next guy was like, who wants to couple up with me? And everyone was like looking away, not trying to make eye contact. And he was like, I would also like to propose to my girlfriend.
That was so funny.
Messy.
That episode, when I saw it, I was like, this show is going to be the wildest thing ever.
Yeah. That was episode 2.
That was episode 2. It's like, this show is going to be the wildest thing ever, or it's going to be an absolute flop. And the thing is, I love the show so much, even though it had Nick and Vanessa Lachey as hosts. They were so insignificant that I actually was appreciative of that, because you couldn't make up the stuff that was happening with the show, and the fact that everyone was just either so hungry, eager, horny, or whatever to be out of the couple. But like that, when that guy proposed to the other girl, they're still together, you know. I think they are. Everyone that I proposed are still together, which makes this show a success.
It worked.
It worked. Sometimes girls used to give your man an ultimatum. I don't
and
know.
then you have to force him to date someone else.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
No, I've never seen anything like that. The way people who've been in couples for 5 years, 10 years switched up on them, like...
I'm surprised that these type of premises work, because if you've watched a show called Temptation Island, similar premise, you are on an island with other singles, and basically you've given your other partner ultimatum to go on this other island and meet other singles, and then you can decide whether to be together or not. It has a kind of more kind of feel, because every now and again you will see a video of what your partner's doing on the other island, and then they will show them that the smallest snippet, and then the girls will go crazy like, he's cheating on me, and then the guys will be like, well, if she's gonna do that, play's gonna play, hate's gonna hate, and then they'll go and cheat on the other guy.
Yeah, so you basically come on this show to be manipulated into cheating on your partner.
And they'll still do it. And this Temptation Island has gone on for quite a few series, so if you know the premise and you go on it, again, it's all on you. It's all on you. But the ultimatum, you couldn't have made that up. And I really enjoyed it. And for the listeners, we didn't actually look at each other's lists.
No.
We both just wrote what we enjoyed this year. And the fact that I have the ultimatum also on my list as honourable mentions, it means that it was a good show.
Yeah.
I got people talking because I was on holiday and you guys were... The group chat was going on fire for this show.
There were certain things that happened on that show that I just could not get my head around.
No.
I absolutely couldn't. I couldn't get my head around.
No.
The girlfriend being like, why has he got a video of Ray twerking in the club? He's like, why are you going through my phone? Other person's like, yeah, I went through your Apple Watch. I saw these I said, this is chaos. Everything about this show makes me so glad I'm single. Because I couldn't do it. I couldn't even do it. Take the other couples out of it. You're being like, why do you have pictures of people from the club?
I don't know.
Where were you last night? You left at 3, you didn't come back till it's 8, so where was you at? You was fucking something like, oh my God.
I couldn't believe it.
Maybe I was at church. Maybe I was praying. Don't give people benefit of the doubt. And also, if you genuinely feel like you don't trust your partner enough that if they left the house for 5 hours and you couldn't get in touch with them, they would be cheating on you, it's already over.
Why are you on this show? To me, the show premise...
already over.
The show premise shouldn't even exist, but there are people that are willing to take this risk.
Also, do you know why it exists? Because I do think for all of our, like, we collectively as society will get on the internet and be like, going through your partner's phone is toxic. Lying to your partner is toxic. And then we'll all like it. We'll be like, yeah. And then in real life, you are doing the exact same things that you said are toxic. The truth of the matter is we are toxic people. That's why they can find people to go on these shows. Because there are people who are like, listen, I'll say it. I go through his phone every single night. And what?
So done. I'm so done.
And then because they know they don't feel some type of way about it, they're willing to admit it. The rest of us will be like, I would never do that. When you're asleep though, I'm collecting your phone and put it over your sleeping face to unlock so I can get... You're toxic! Each and every one of us is toxic.
I was watching something on TikTok, and if you... Please follow us on TikTok as well. We're also on the socials. At Scripts and Giggles.
Hey.
And someone mentioned something similar, like, look, on TikTok, you will find a number of people who are willing to give their opinions.
Yeah.
The people that don't give their opinions on TikTok doesn't mean that they don't have the same opinions. It's just the people that are on TikTok are brave enough or maybe crazy enough to do so. So just because someone's not posting doesn't mean that they're sane. It just means that they're not willing to show their face.
Everybody is toxic. Even Shoshanna and Marnie here speaking to you now. You heard how I spoke about those showrunners. Each of us are toxic in our own ways. Like, all people are toxic to some extent. It's all learned behaviour at the end of the day. And if I'm hanging out with a group of girls and they're all like, oh, I check my man's phone, am I not going to be like, oh, maybe it's okay to check my man's phone? Yeah. I'm not saying that's something I would do. But I know I have toxic behaviours. I know that I'd be like, I'm going to try and make that person jealous. Why is he not looking at me? I'm going to kiss his best friend. That is toxic. That desire to, instead of you just go over and talk to them like, no, that's too basic. What I'm going to do is create an environment so overwhelming and stifling that he has no choice but to speak to me. That is toxic. And toxic people love watching more toxic people.
And that's why people love the Ultimatum.
Exactly, because you can sit with your partner and be like, we'd never do that. We trust each other explicitly.
But they're really just doing the exact same thing.
Literally.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to series 2.
Putting a hex on you don't even know.
Please, pray. I'm looking forward to series 2. Some coming soon. Talking of dysfunctional relationship situationships or just love in general, I put the Tinder swindler. So that was I'm so happy that we are actually aligning on this. So I put honorable mention for the Tinder swindler. It was a documentary on Netflix early in the year. It was a documentary that I remember watching going like, if my tablet could see my face, I was just screw facing the whole time. I was so confused. I was like, it's so stupid. How could this have happened? For those who didn't watch it, it was about a guy, I can't remember what his name was. He's on Tinder, swindling a number of different ladies, getting them to buy him things, using their credit card, getting massive amount of debts. Because the guy was saying that he had enemies, quote unquote. He was trying to get him. He had a security guard who was part of the whole scam. He took many of these women to different places across the world. It was a really riveting documentary and very much real life that could easily be a drama, could easily be a reality show, basically. It was nuts. I thoroughly enjoyed it, but it made me look at online dating with the biggest side eye ever.
I watched that show and I said, selfishly, you can drag me in the comments. I said, God, when will I find somebody gullible to part with 20, 30, 40k to put into my pocket? When? Why are you on the internet beating man? And he was very clever about how he did it, because the reason why these girls gave him the money is because they thought he had money.
Yeah.
If he turned up to that date, wearing a tracksuit and scuffed up trainers and then said, can you give me 20k? It wouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
He took her on a helicopter, took her on a private jet.
But his second date.
Second date in another country. Of course you're thinking, I've made it. I'm living life of luxury from here on out.
What do you know about him?
When he calls you and says, can you lend me 20k? Would you not be like, huh? First of all, where do you think I'm going to get 20k from? This woman is in hundreds of thousands of pounds of debt. Which I don't even know how you get hundreds of thousands of pounds.
Because every time the credit card company was trying to get her back, she was like, don't worry, I'll come back to you.
It's crazy. It's dark because I feel like fraud in that way is dark always. It's like you're taking money from somebody. If you're stealing money from a corporation, I would actually feel differently about it. The idea of stealing money from a regular person, like, you've met these women, you know they don't have this money. Like, it's not like you're going out seducing rich women. You're seducing regular women, getting them into thousands of pounds of debt, so that you can take another woman on a private jet and seduce her and take money off her. It was like a cycle. It's a pyramid scheme. Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah.
He was. And then would call and threaten them if they didn't give him the money, or if they would call the police. Like, it was honestly genuinely quite terrifying.
It was. And I felt for all the women involved. Even the women that, the woman at the end that sold all this stuff and was making the money back. Because I don't know if all these girls are out of debt. I'm hoping they are.
No.
They're still...
by the end of the series, they were saying some of them were still in debt.
Yeah, that's some of them now. But I'm hoping over the course of the year, now the show has been released, and they've had a bit more notoriety, that they will get some more money to kind of reduce debt. No.
Who's supposed to give them the money?
No, but for the notoriety and...
Netflix should have given them the money.
All I just hope is that they are... Because of what's happened, I'm hoping that one, it's opened their eyes, opened a lot of people's eyes, women, men, who are in those compromising positions, women or men, in those compromising positions, to understand that when you are online dating, you also understand that there could be scams out there. There's scams everywhere. the banks are always warning, like, be careful of people that are phoning you suspiciously, sending you text messages. Even online dating, if someone's asking you for money, they're asking for your money, but they're not asking for a date. That's a problem. That's seriously a problem. So...
just don't be giving money to people.
No.
I actually think, period, don't be
No.
giving... If someone asks you for 50p...
No.
part with it.
No, fam.
20k?
20k, come on. And the one of the
Even
big...
if I had it, I'm not giving it
Exactly.
to you.
There's one big thing that I've learned in life. I don't think it's a general lesson. If someone asks you to borrow money and you know that if you depart for that money, you won't be able to live, or you actually don't have the money, don't give it.
Don't give it.
Don't give... Like, honestly, it's just ridiculous. And I think when I was...
So a man you went on one date with?
Yeah, the whole idea, it made me feel sad because you could tell there's not desperation for love, but there was this
But there was an element
it.
of it. Like, the first girl he's saying that, like, she'd always thought of herself as being, like, a character in a fairy tale and was just waiting, basically, for her Prince Charming to come along. And this guy came along and he kind of...
swept her off her feet.
You know, kind of ticked the boxes.
Yeah.
And a part of her was so excited to be on that part of her journey that the common sense, the, like, red flags, all of that, she was ignoring and getting deeper and deeper into debt.
Yeah. It's just very sad. And
Cursory Google would have told you he didn't exist.
yeah, come on. And if you do have those red flags, really lean into those flags.
The fact that she wasn't even worried when he was taking on the private jet that he was a murderer.
Yeah.
How can you be getting on a private jet to go to another country with a guy that you don't know? That's how people get trafficked.
Yeah.
You could have lost your kidneys. Could have taken you to, you know, France and then cut your kidneys out while you were sleeping and left you for dead.
No.
Have you not seen Dirty Pretty Little Things? God.
No. That's
an experience.
It is an experience, and it was definitely eye opening. I think it's probably one of the top documentaries for the year.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my honourable mentions.
I have one last honourable
Go
mention,
on.
also kind of in keeping with this.
Okay.
And it's from a series called Untold. It's on Netflix and it's called The Girlfriend That Didn't Exist.
Yes.
When I tell you, I watched all 3 episodes of that, like, jaw agape. I'm a person who's, like, watched almost every episode of Catfish. Like, I get it. I get what it means to be catfish. But, like, there was something about the scale of the story and actually getting to meet the catfish and have the catfish tell their version of, like, tell their story alongside the person. I think it becoming a national story. Like, this wasn't just a tiny little catfish where you found out you've been catfished and that was the end of it. Like, this guy lost his scholarship.
Yeah.
He never got picked in his draft. Like, he was going to be a football player, lost his career because he got catfished. Not because he catfished someone else, because somebody pretended to be someone else and everyone thought he was in on it. Why would I be in on a story where I was getting catfished?
Yeah. And he knew absolutely nothing about it. I think there's also the homophobia around it because he was a man.
There was homophobia around it. The person who was catfishing him at the time was male, is now trans, I think. So there was that kind of, I don't understand what kind of person would do this. Why would they do that? They have to be sick, they have to be that. As opposed to hearing the catfish talk about it, saying that, like, living on the internet as these personas, as these characters, was like them getting to live as their authentic self. Granted, when I tell you this person created backstories, family, had voices for the family, this guy was having conversations, not just him, other people would be in the room when he was on the phone to his quote-unquote girlfriend and also fell for it. So them sort of penalising him alone for the experience of being catfished was crazy because everyone got catfished in this story. And I don't know, it really blew me away. I don't know why, it just really blew me away that they thought he was part of it, that there could have been a chance he was part of it, that it then turned out he wasn't part of it. And I was like, well, he's been punished as if he was part of it, even though he wasn't. And I don't know. I think about all of those catfish episodes where they're like, how could it be a man? And then they do the voice and you're like, that's a woman.
Oh, when that interview when they showed, he was like, "Oh, can you speak?" Like, and he asked the guy at the time to speak, and he just spoke the way he's speaking. I was
Imagine your catfish getting interviewed
Dude,
on the news.
It was I felt for the guy.
I felt for him.
His name is Matty Teo.
Mm-hmm.
Matty Teo, excuse me.
I think it's Teo.
Matty Teo.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's very,
from
very
Hawaii.
sad. Yeah.
Grew up. Also, I think this is what didn't help. Grew up Mormon.
Yeah.
So no really dating of women. So sheltered.
So very naive to the situation, and it's just very disappointing. And the fact that his whole career just ended before it even began, and you could see the hurt in him.
Yeah, of course.
And
It's
he stood by his faith a lot, but it was
a wild, honestly,
it was
a wild story. Such a wild story.
Netflix really does know how to get those crazy stories. Honestly, the stories that get people talking. So
I hope that I really, like, of all the people that I hope wish the best for, I genuinely do wish the best for him.
Yeah.
And for his catfish.
Yeah.
I think,
I think that some lessons had to be learnt from the catfish. But
yeah, because honestly, being interviewed and getting to go on Oprah and stuff like that, like doing the circuit almost when you're the bad guy.
You ruined someone's life. He could have sued him.
He could have destroyed him.
Yeah. Anyway.
Her. Could have destroyed her.
Him at the time, but you destroyed her now.
Well, no, because they should. I thought they were going to get him on the documentary.
Yeah, so did I.
I thought that would have been.
Or maybe I'm sure there was discussions about it, but
because they must have known that they were getting the other person.
Yeah.
So I'd been like, it'd be nice to. Is it nice? I mean, me saying it'd be nice for me as a viewer.
But I think I think they would have to get security.
No, Manny wouldn't do that.
No.
He's a good Christian boy.
He is, but I just think, I don't know. Maybe they talked about it, but they were like, for my own mental health, I'll just let this slide. I'll let this hold.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's our honourable mentions.
Yeah.
Should we talk about the ones that are bops? Bops for the year. I'm excited. Okay, I'll start.
Go.
Number one. By the way, we are not putting this in any ranking. We're just going to spitball our favourites. I'm putting Abbott Elementary.
Wow.
I am putting Abbott Elementary on there. I love sitcoms. I love comedies.
Love boys.
I have to say that Abbott Elementary was one of the most refreshing sitcoms I've watched this year. It was funny, wholesome, had a great cast. Every single person brought it. It was
nobody talks about the kids.
No, the kids as well.
The kids.
The janitor.
Courtney. She's gonna be a star.
Yeah, everyone was.
That girl's scary.
Yeah.
I was scared. I said, you guys. I was like, oh, imagine getting run around by a kid. Courtney could run me around for sure.
Great show.
Demon.
It's written and created by Kinta Bronson, who is an amazing talent. I'm excited for series 2. I think it was a funny show. It was about teachers in Philly.
Yes, famously Philly.
In Philadelphia. I loved the cast. I just loved how refreshing it was. It was just relaxed, and it's a show you could put in the background, but a show that you just want to watch and just indulge.
Do you know it did really well, which I think a lot of people don't get right. But like having the sort of white liberal who's learnt things so that they can be not racist, but still puts effort in the mouth in a way.
Yeah.
Because he is completely harmless.
Yeah.
And very well-meaning.
Yeah.
But almost like polices himself before you can police him.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily the black people being like, oh, here he goes.
Yeah.
He does it to himself.
Yeah.
He makes fun of himself.
Yeah.
I just think it's so rare that people get that character right. Like, they either do it where you're like, oh, get him off the... Like, they're not funny.
Yeah.
And actually, he's very... I really enjoy him.
Yeah.
I love when Jacob and Barbara are in the garden and being a little bit bitchy with each other.
Yeah.
I was like... I love, like... Remember when we were talking about Luton, I was like, it just feels so unorganic, the way they try and get members of the cast to mix... Like, Abbott Elementary never has that problem.
No.
It feels so organic.
Yeah, it does.
Like, these people work in the same place. There are situations where they have to work together. There are situations where they can choose to work together. There are situations where they are being pitted against each other. Like, that is what the workplace is like. And it feels very natural.
Yeah. And there's two other key things that I really loved about the show. One, the thing about Luke was trying to do with the romance, but it just felt, again, unorganic, and it just didn't work in the same way, was building that sexual tension between a potential budding relationship with Kinta's character and then Tyler James Williams' character. And you're like, oh, you know it's going to happen, and you really want Greg and Janine to get together, but you just like, it's cool, it's nice, but it's not the main story.
I'm going to say something controversial.
Go on.
I think they have too much sexual tension.
No, they don't. I disagree.
I actually think it's too much.
I don't think they do.
I barely make it through an episode.
I've
said if these people didn't kiss by episode 2, I don't know how I'm going to watch this.
No,
series.
I think we've seen.
He's in love with her.
Yeah, you can tell, but it's
crazy. You met me today.
Yeah, but I feel like it's like a steady increase in their friendship, because also she can't do anything because she's in a relationship. So like,
I'm going to be honest. Of course, you fall in love with Ginny, and she's absolutely
she's
sweetheart,
amazing.
But why'd you fall in love with Greg?
Because he's also awkward and sweet, and that's another key thing I liked about the show. In terms of, we talked about You Don't Know Me and how a lot of black characters are just pigeonholed into like gangs, violence, that type of thing. Whereas I think you see more in American shows. You can see some diversity in terms of like the plethora of other characters who are just characters regardless of their race. You see Janine, who is a bit awkward and a bit dorky and a bit, she's very adorable, and you have what's her name's character, Janelle's James' character, Ava, who's a head teacher, who is just unhinged and reckless but hilarious at the same time.
Fun fact.
Go on.
And only our fashion girlies are going to care about this, but there is a top that Janelle wears in an episode which I own.
Wow.
No, that has never happened to me, that I'm watching a television program.
They see the exact same thing.
I know for a fact.
Where'd you get it from?
Zara! Zara! I said...
They're one with the people.
That's my top.
So is 50,000 other girlies who are wearing the same top.
No, Shoshanna. When have you watched a TV show someone's been wearing the exact same top that you know you bought from the exact same place?
They probably wear the
top. Wrong! It's never happened. And therefore, I'm sorry. I could be...
You could be Ava's character. You could be the head teacher. You'd probably be a really fun head teacher like that.
I'd be a great head teacher.
Aloof.
I would not be aloof because I would be like kids. I would turn them into like my little like minions, like in Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
Oh, I'm so done.
But like, you do this, you do this.
I'm
so
so done. But yeah,
I would be like her, being like coming to the staff room and being like, "What's the tea?"
I'm done. But yeah,
flirting with the one person who is not flirting with me.
He don't want you. Greg don't want you though. I love it.
I love the complete lack of
awareness. Yeah. But yeah,
also she is sexually harassing her staff.
Yeah, she is, and it's just comedy. But I thoroughly enjoyed it. I love the mockumentary style, similar to Parks and Rec.
Yep. And The Office.
And The Office. So
the Modern Family.
So it's not like it's the first time they've ever done a show like this before. It's just so nice to see it in this format with teachers, with a diverse cast, with an amazing black female writer. Yeah, one of my faves.
This is not going to surprise you.
Go on.
The Mole!
What?
The Mole is one of the best things I watched this year. I said it when we did the review, and I'll say it again.
Wow.
I watched The Mole in one day.
Wow.
I watched the first episode. I was hooked. Yeah. I said, that woman is the Mole. And I was like, I am not going anywhere until I get my definitive proof that she's the Mole.
10 toes down.
10 toes down. She turned out to not be the Mole, but that's not the point. I really enjoyed it. I'm not a big like competition format type of person. Like, I watch reality TV shows about dating, but I don't really watch like a Survivor or Survivor.
Yeah.
I used to like a Fort Boyard, you know.
Yeah.
I didn't watch The Raven, but I used to watch my sister watching The Raven.
Yeah.
And The Mole just really tickled two parts of me, which is competition mode, let's win, and also people thinking that they can detect who a liar is.
Yes.
And they just can't.
Yeah.
We aren't everybody gets up in the morning, I could do this. You can't.
Yeah.
I would like to, as a side note, mention The Traitors on BBC.
Yes.
The Traitors is basically the mole, but there are 3 moles.
Yeah.
And you can elect new moles.
Oh.
If one of your moles gets axed. The Traitors, what they do with their mole is much more elevated than what the mole does with their mole.
Really?
It's what I wish they did. Which is that they shifted, like, you obscured the mole sometimes. So people would be like, oh, it's this person. But actually, that was that person 4 episodes ago. Yeah. So clearly there is, like, a hunger for this format. And, like, Traitors has done really, really well for the BBC.
Massively well.
It's been brilliant to watch people crying and screaming that they are in fact not the traitor and they're only to be sent home. And guess what? They weren't the traitor.
Oh,
incredible.
No.
People being like, I know she's the traitor because, do you know what? At breakfast, she only had 2 croissants. And I'm sorry, that's traitor behaviour. Like, you don't know what you're talking about. Absolutely brilliant. That's what I love about the mole. People being like, I know who the mole is. You don't know who the mole is. You don't know who the mole is.
So interesting.
And then to find out Cassie was the mole, and she was just like, hey, I was the mole. To be fair, yes, as we discussed in our review, we knew at the end, but it's just so entertaining. I just really like when she took the immunity card.
Oh, that was it. That should have been the biggest clue that this girl is a traitor, but yeah, I still like gun ho. It's like it's Joy. Joy is the mole. Joy is absolutely the mole.
Joy.
She's too amazing to not be the mole.
Joy. If we could ever get anyone on our podcast, anyone of any of the shows that we've reviewed,
I think Joy would be
Joy's
a good time.
top of my list.
It's a good time.
Joy is the top of my list. I have so many questions for her.
Yeah.
I have so many questions for her. She's so fucking cool.
I liked the mole, but it wasn't up there in my top ones. But it was a good show, and it was very interesting. And once you're in, you're hooked. You just want to know. You're guessing it, and it's like it teaches you not teaches you trust issues, but you have so much trust issues because you're like, I think it's this person, but actually this person's doing something that's like sly, giving me mole-like behavior. Everyone's giving mole-like behavior until you find out it's Kizzy.
Literally, that is the thing.
Yeah.
Everyone, like, that's what I mean. You're not good at trying to work out who is the liar when every single person in here you don't know.
Yeah. So
it's the same with the traitors. They're like, I know it's not you. You're my best friend. Psych, it was him.
I 100% need to watch it. But yeah. So for me, I'm also gonna add Upload series 2 to the list. So basically, Marnie gave a recommendation to one of our other girlies about this show called Upload.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's on Amazon Prime. I haven't really engaged as much with Prime Video. Mm-hmm. To me, it's an additional bonus to having my next day delivery. But I thought I'll give this one a watch. It was 30 minutes, kind of a comedy drama. And I really enjoyed it. It's such an interesting premise.
Super easy watch.
Super easy watch. It's such an interesting premise on sci-fi. I'm not the biggest sci-fi fan.
Yeah.
But this was a fun premise in terms of like the future and afterlife and how people can impact your present and also your future and this whole world of like being able to download your life and become a new form in the afterlife, and your living relatives, loved ones can fund your lifestyle in the afterlife. It wasn't the most funny.
How many of us do you think would actually get into that place?
Because
there
have
are
money.
some family members that I'm sure I'd be like, no. We're not paying for
God
that.
bless. Rest
You know
in
what?
peace.
You're gonna have the natural type of die, which is goodbye forever.
No, I understood why his one was kept because there's other additional storylines, but also because he died so young. But it's just, if you were gonna have that kind of afterlife, you need to have family relatives that are rich.
Yeah.
Because it's an expensive endeavor to keep your loved one alive in this digital form. And then I love the relationship that was building with the main character,
mm-hmm.
Nora. And then Nathan, who was the guy who was in the afterlife.
Mm-hmm.
I love that budding relationship. And series 2, which is
they got to have sex.
Yes, they did actually. Yeah, they did. And it was just a nice a build from series 1, which I really enjoyed. I'm so excited for the next series. I do think this type of premise is going to be probably short lived. You can't drag it out.
I'm surprised it had a second season.
Yeah, same. But I think
But the guy who wrote it Greg Daniels wrote The Office, so
Yeah.
I actually do think he has the power to be like, bring me back for another season, or I burn your house to the ground.
He's a great writer, and this is
I burn you to the ground.
But this is one of
The
the
Office.
this is an example of a good and really experienced and talented showrunner who just knows how to create good shows.
I think the first season was a bit hit and miss.
A little bit, but I still enjoyed it.
I enjoyed
Maybe
it, but there were
watch
certain
series
moments, like, do you remember the moment where the guy, like, I don't know if he's like trying to upload, re-upload, like something happens and his head explodes.
Yes.
It's so gory and like not in keeping with the tone of the show. Like, we never have a moment like that again.
No.
And that's why I say it's hit and miss, because I think they're probably trying to figure out like how much can we push this premise and stuff.
I think you also want to show the stakes. Like, this is not one of those easy things where you can just put a floppy disk into a computer and then you're going to re-emerge as a new life. It's like, this is serious. So
yeah.
But I really enjoyed it, and also I think that scene needed to happen because for me, I would have just been like, if you can download someone into the afterlife, why can't you re-upload them back into normal life?
Because their body's dead.
Yes, but you can just clone the body. Literally, they needed to show that premise to show that they try to clone the body and try and bring someone back into the real life, and it just didn't work.
I also think, like, in a show like that, you only have to make enough advances in science for your tech to work. You don't want to make so much advances that you can, like, you can re-download, you can do this, because then it's like, well, why are we even watching this? Why don't we get to the most, like, you just go, we've reached a place where we can upload consciousnesses, and that's it.
Yeah.
Like, bodies, we don't know how to reanimate them. It's really, really complicated. That's why I think it's kind of weird that they've sort of figured it out by the end of season 2 and they could bring him back in his own body, but it's fine because they had it on ice the whole time, but that's really weird because his body clearly died. Anyway. They've grown a clone. They've
grown a clone of his body. All I know is this is Disney logic. There's some stuff when you watch on. It's not even Disney. This is Prime logic. There's some stuff when you watch.
No, it is Disney logic.
The logic doesn't make sense. It's just Disney logic. Yeah. You don't, in this world,
stop thinking about
exactly. In this particular world, this is what happens.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed the show. I'm looking forward to series 3. It's up there on my list.
Yeah, it's if you like Black Mirror, but Black Mirror is too somber for you, you're gonna love Upload.
Yes, because it was
just a
light.
bit more optimistic.
Yeah, it's very light and it has some comedy. It's not
silly.
funny. It's silly. Yeah.
It's quite silly in places, but which is fun.
It's not laugh out loud, but it's definitely a good show.
His mate and her mate have a kind of thing.
Yes, I love that.
I quite enjoy.
Yes. What's her name? I didn't find her name. I love that dynamic between them. Alicia and Luke's character.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah.
My next mention is gonna blow your socks off.
Go on.
White Lotus.
I wasn't surprised. Wasn't surprised you're gonna put that one on there.
White Lotus again. Did it again.
Yeah.
Event TV.
Yeah.
Honestly, when I tell you in the office, Tuesday morning.
Yeah.
Have you seen the White Lotus show? I have in fact seen the White Lotus. What did you think of the dude fucking his uncle? And then someone in the office being like, I haven't seen it, please guys, can you not talk about it, please, wait until I've left the room.
It's a very long time since we've had this kind of moments. Like Game of Thrones had those moments, Breaking Bad had those moments.
Yeah.
You don't get as much of that type of TV now, especially in the world of streaming, so
I think it's really weird, right? Because I feel that way about Succession.
Yeah.
As well. Like, something about HBO shows that do have the, like, maybe it's because it's not all dumped on a streamer, it is weekly viewing, that you do build some sort of momentum. I think, sorry to talk about Traitors again, but Traitors was strict across the week, so it was an episode every night, and it genuinely had people coming back every day at 9pm because I didn't want to fall behind in the conversation on the internet. And I was watching it, I started the series later than most people, but I'd seen people tweeting, and that's what made me go, oh, I want to watch this. Yeah. Because it feels like a show that I would like, and to see people that I like are watching it. The same with the White Lotus. You see like a couple tweets here and there, and then suddenly your inbox, your page is flooded. Your TikTok For You page is flooded. Like, you have to watch it. If you're gonna watch it, you have to watch it when everyone's watching it, which can be kind of annoying because you're like, I have a life, but then equally you're like,
but I want to be part of the conversation. I want to be part of the conversation.
I think another reason why it's there for me is just like, I have not been on holiday this year, and now I feel like I did go to Sicily. You know,
it's so true.
I did go there. The hotel was lovely.
Yeah.
I love looking at the water. So many shots of the water crashing on the rocks, making me feel uneasy all day, every day. I found myself thinking as I was watching it, how do people live by the sea? It's so noisy.
Yeah.
Like, they're just trying to have a peaceful day and it's just constantly. That's so annoying. I keep thinking about Noto. I'm like, maybe I have to go to Noto. Like, we gotta go to Noto. Like, that's all I think about. I'm going to go to Noto in my life, or I'm not gonna have lived.
It's so don't get me wrong. It was like beautifully shot, and I mean, you
So
can't help it. It's a location.
Yeah.
It's warm, and we're here in November, December time, freezing our backsides off. You just want to be there. I mean, apart from the murder and the gays.
Apart from the gays.
The murders, yeah.
I'm really thankful that it introduced me to Megan Fahey.
Yeah.
Because I just thought she was absolutely brilliant in it.
I've watched her in The Bold Type before, but it was such a nice, refreshing way to see her. I'm so interested to see...
was Sharp, Tom Holland, Theo James Wells.
I know
thank you for the refresher,
yeah,
I guess.
I hadn't seen Will Sharp in an acting role before. I've known of him in a more writer-director role, so it's very interesting to see him in this light.
And, you know, it has also shown me the most violent blowjob scene I've ever seen in my entire life. When Lucia's, I said, this is aggressive.
In my head, I can just see her hand pressed against Val's cheeks, yeah.
Honestly.
Pushing in.
Never seen anything like that.
Jesus, Lord have mercy.
I said, is this allowed?
But you know it's HBO, so they can really go to town.
If
they could do Game of Thrones, they can do anything.
I know, but there was something about the hard cut. It was like a hard cut from the last scene into that scene. And you didn't even have a minute to put your drink down. You were just like, I'm on the bus, I'm on the bus.
Yes.
Please, I'm on the tube, everyone's gonna hear.
Oh, God.
Yeah, it was wild.
Yeah.
It's wild.
Yeah.
Absolutely loved it.
Talking of wild shows that we actually have reviewed, The Bear.
Yeah, that's one of mine.
Yeah, absolutely. When we
mine.
talked about reviewing it, I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
The first episode, I wasn't sure. It was chaotic and loud. I mean, to the point where I had to take my headphones off, dial down my volume of what I was watching, and then watch it and concentrate. I thought it was riveting in terms of how the show was produced. I loved the storyline. I loved the vulnerability of the main character. I loved the diversity of the ensemble. I loved how it was a drama. I loved how the fact that it was, for me, I thought it was more drama than comedy. But when you had the comedy moments, it was like a beautiful offset of like the chaos that we had seen either in the kitchen with the chef, or the arguments and the debates between all the other chefs. And I just loved how it was written and how it was created. And I don't know how series 2 is going to be and how they're going to be able to live up to it, but I'm excited about it. And it's not a show that I would generally like gravitate to, but I think it was just a really good piece of TV. Yeah. And I really enjoyed it.
I also put it in my top.
Yeah.
I really loved it. It really sat with me. The way that the White Lotus has sat with me.
Yeah.
Like watching The Bear, I think had we not been doing the podcast, I don't think I would watch anything new for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
Because it really filled a hole for me. Quite emotional to think about it because it was so good.
Yeah.
Really liked it. Yeah. Really had missed seeing Desi. Actually, I didn't realise how much I'd missed Desi until we watched the show.
Family's typecast. He's typecast for disastrous characters.
What's he been up to for the past, I don't know, 10, 15, 20 years? Yeah. How long has it been, Desi?
About 10 years, right?
Yeah, probably. No way. Girls didn't finish when we were 20. It's not been 10 years.
Oh, no. Okay, it's 5. Yeah, but it was in his heyday.
It does feel like a lifetime ago.
Yeah, it was in his heyday when we were at university.
That's when I first started watching it.
Yeah.
So it can't have been near season 5.
Maybe towards it, yeah.
Anyway, proper good. You know, it's well good, isn't it? And everyone in that show can meet me at Nando's for a free meal.
I feel like everyone needs a Nando's just to rest, man. Everyone needs
Okay, so yours was The Bear. My next one is going to be one that we didn't review because it was at the start of the year, but it also sat with me. This Is Going to Hurt, or on the BBC.
Oh.
I really love that show.
Wait. So the book adaptation?
Yes.
Okay.
I really loved that show. I thought it was a really... I guess because because I go to the hospital quite a bit, so it kind of felt like a peek behind the curtain. It's also set in like 2006, so it's not now.
No.
It was a certain period of time, but it's crazy to see that in 2006 things were falling apart. Yeah. Here we are in 2022 being like, it's all falling apart. It's been falling apart.
Yeah.
It's been falling apart, bitch, is what that show said to us. I love Ben Whishaw. I've loved Ben Whishaw in everything I've ever seen him in. Yeah. He's brilliant in that. The relationship between him and the junior doctor, who then sadly commits suicide, was so nuanced and tricky and painful, and not this like sort of supportive friendship that you want it to be, that you wish it could be, that sometimes it is. You kind of remember that these are people who haven't slept for 3 days, making decisions that may or may not kill another person, and you kind of can't afford to get too chummy. I just thought it was really beautiful, and I actually think Adam McKay did a really good job of adapting. So he does stand up now. Yeah,
because he was a comedian, wasn't he? Oh,
he was a doctor, and and I think he did a really good job of making the show really zing for me. Like, it was just very joke in places where it was so dark that you needed that. And so for me, it was like being on a fucking roller coaster, in the way that The Bear is like being on a roller coaster, but in terms of volume.
Yeah.
This is a roller coaster in terms of like, why am I smiling? Someone's bleeding out.
Yeah.
It's not funny.
Yeah.
A lot of medical malpractice.
Oh, fam, everyone.
A lot of medical
Everyone
malpractice.
Should be reported.
Everyone should be reported. I did appreciate that. Like, it made it very clear that even having your baby in a private hospital, you can still die.
Yeah. Actually, I think that's a misconception, that a lot of private hospitals don't have A&E. So if something happens as an emergency, they're not equipped for emergencies.
You're gonna die.
They're equipped for routines.
They're gonna take you right back to King's College.
Yeah.
See you in King's College, bitch. You thought you was better than us. Psych.
Yeah.
But I just really liked it. Like, it made me emotional. It made me think so much. I think also just made me think about like careers in general, and I guess being a doctor is another one of those things where you spend so much time training for it, and then you get there, and the idea that you can't hack it feels like a failure, rather than like, this is unbearable. This is not a good work environment. And like, when the junior doctor passes away, it's very much felt like she was like, I can't hack the idea of going back and saying I can't do this.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of us have found ourselves working in places where we felt like it would be a failure on our part not to put up with what we're in, but really you're allowed to put yourself first and make a decision to work somewhere that's healthy and has boundaries and respects that, you work from 9, you work to 5, and then you go home. Why do we have doctors turning up for shifts who've had 2 hours of sleep? That's crazy.
And it's one of those things, there's some jobs where you can leave the office and leave it behind.
Yeah.
Whereas being a doctor, being something like a teacher, being in public service means that the job is with you even after you leave the office. It's still in your mind, still after you leave the office. And I think that was very clear in this show. And I feel like, so I watched the show early in the year. I wasn't a massive fan. I wasn't a massive fan of the show as much. It didn't feel as distinctive, and it actually made me want to read the book more than watch the show. However, I do feel like had this show come out last month, we're currently, if you're in the UK, you know that the nurses are on strike. There is potential for doctors to go on strike next year. I think that again, it would have opened more people's eyes, if you don't know already, about how chaotic that industry is, and also how under-resourced the NHS is. I think it was not a love letter, because that's probably the wrong word, but it was a letter to the NHS. It was a response to like, this is actually what the NHS looks like, or what a hospital or care system looks like, and how there are a lot of dysfunction that happens. I think they use the characters as a symbol, but also you can see there's a systems in terms of the actual hospitals.
It's falling apart.
It's literally a mess as well. So even though I wasn't the biggest fan of the show, I do like the lead. I think he's a great character, and I was, again, he's another person who you see him like, oh, I'm intrigued to see what the show is about.
And he also played the kind of doctor that I always see and feel anxious around.
Yeah.
Where they're like making jokes, but it's not funny.
Yeah.
It's like
It's a
they're
coping
making jokes, but
mechanism.
it's like, this is not a situation where I want to laugh.
Yeah. I think for them it's a coping mechanism, but for other people it's like, no, this is real life, man. This is real life, girl.
Also, this is real life, girl.
Girl.
Is also
Woman,
made
sorry.
me. It also drew attention, I think, to like, of all the places where, like, if I make a mistake, the worst thing is I'm gonna have to send an email with the correction.
Yeah.
They make a mistake, someone dies.
Fam.
How nuts that is.
I can't.
It's just, it's, I got to the end of that series, I was like, it is actually crazy that we put our lives in another human being's hand when we know how fallible we are.
Yeah.
And then we're expecting this person to be infallible.
Yeah.
Well,
it's hard.
In short, don't get sick.
Yeah.
I took away from that. I said, we can't afford to be getting sick in this life.
No, it's
because they finna kill us.
No, you have to have your wits' end. The minute you walk in, you need to have your wits' end, but that's hard because a lot of people that go in are vulnerable and sick, and they're just like, they just want help. And some of these doctors, they also need the help and care. I think we talked about it before we ever recorded the podcast. We talked about a show that we love, and we probably will do a review one day, called Couples Therapy, and how the whole idea about therapists, they need also therapists themselves because they need also that care. They need someone to be...
We all have unconscious biases as well.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes you're giving advice based on something you've experienced, but you're supposed to be giving advice based on what I've told you.
Exactly.
Or I might say something that triggers you. Yeah. Like, you just don't. You are a person. Yeah.
So
you're not a robot. You're not, a god. You're just a person. Who's read more books than me. Yeah. That's literally it.
And studied for 10 plus years to be the doctor you are. No.
But basically what you're saying is, I could go do this.
Yeah.
And that's scary. I wouldn't trust people's lives in my hands.
No.
Even if I had 10 plus years.
Anyway, pray.
That was one of my tops.
Talking of another somber, well, actually it's a more somber show, but definitely one of the standouts, From Scratch. From Scratch is up there. When I'm telling you a show that made me emotional, that made me look at the relationship between the two leads and see that beautiful love story, a story that delves into very serious issues, going back to health, about cancer, about death, about grief, about family, about interracial relationships, we talk about it, or intercultural relationships. A story that hoodwinked me at the beginning because I thought it was going to be a cheesy romantic love story where a black girl finds love or finds herself in Italy but actually finds love. It's definitely up there, one of my favourites. It stars Zoe Saldana. We gave a whole review about it. Definitely give it a watch and listen. There's nothing much I can say. It's a show that made me cry the most. It's a show that... There's a show every year that makes me want to keep on watching it even into the early hours of the morning. I remember it was The Night Of many years ago with Riz Ahmed. That show made me that show made me stay up until 4 o'clock in the morning, and I watched and watched. Could not get my eyes off it. And there's a show every year that does it, and this was my show for this year. It was From Scratch. So yeah, there's nothing much I can say. Listen to the review. This is the review.
My last one is another show that we didn't review on the show, called Am I Being Unreasonable?
Yeah.
It is talking about shows that masquerade as other shows.
Yeah.
So it stars Daisy May Cooper, who is a comedian.
Yeah.
Who is known for the show This Country, which she does with her brother. I think it might be done now.
Yeah.
So you come into it, you think it's going to be sort of ordinary comedy. And actually, it starts off as a story about a woman who had an affair with her husband. Had an affair with her husband. Had an affair on her husband. Had an affair?
Yeah, had an affair with her, not with her husband.
Against her husband?
Not on her husband.
You had an affair with me? Yeah.
To her husband.
Around her husband. You're watching us have a mental breakdown.
In her husband?
We're having a grammatical...
I don't know. Anyway, against her husband.
I swear it's on. You had an affair on me. Don't people say that? You had an affair on me.
Are you having an affair with the person that you're having an affair with?
Yeah, but you're having an affair on.
Yeah, affair on.
Anyway, I'm now not even going to say the phrase because
Yeah.
I just don't know if it's right. Can you Google?
Yeah.
Does one have an affair on or an affair with? She's had an affair with a man who then dies tragically on a train platform.
Oh, wow.
And you find out in like the first 5 minutes of the show. You then slowly learn... Got it. You then slowly learn that the person she was having an affair with was in fact her husband's brother.
Oh my gosh.
And there is a woman that she's met at the school gates who they become fast friends, but that woman is secretly filming her. And you're like, what is the link here? Is this the wife of the person that she was cheating with? Is this person? And basically, it becomes a show about people who are dishonest. You find out her husband has a Tinder profile.
Oh, wow.
And is meeting women from Tinder. And one of the women he meets is her new best friend from the school. So the reason why she's filming her is because she films people, she records people. But her plan all along is to expose her husband. That's what she'd come to the house and befriended her to be like, your husband is a cheat. Only to find out that the wife had also cheated on the husband. And so the whole way through, you're like, when is this secret going to be revealed? Who knows the secret? What's going on? She's like plagued with these like visions of this interaction with this man, and every time she has this flashback, it's slightly different. And then in the end, you find out that the tragic incident on the platform was that the brother, had called the affair off. He no longer wanted to be with her. She's like, why? He was like, I was just having an affair with you to get back at my brother.
Oh my gosh.
I don't want to be with you. I'm married. I have a wife. We're trying for a baby. So she grabs him
Oh my god.
as the doors are closing.
Yeah.
His jacket gets stuck in the door.
Yeah.
The train starts going. He basically gets decapitated.
Oh my god.
She killed him. But you've spent this whole show thinking that you're on this poor woman's grief journey and like the man that she loved has died and all this stuff, only to find out that she's killed him.
Oh my god.
It's absolutely brilliant because it plays with this idea of like what you expect from a comedy. So all of the lightness and like, oh, everything's silly and everything's and like having these like really clear like thriller turns where you're like, what the hell is this show? Like her son kills their cat.
Oh my gosh.
And you're like, oh no, your son's a murderer. But then you find out that the son had seen her kissing his uncle and like somehow read it as like the cat had something to do with it and basically kills the cat to be like, and that means like I've undone whatever bad thing just happened. It's like a trauma response.
Yes.
And she doesn't realise. She thinks he's just become a like baby serial killer. Anyway, it's absolutely brilliant.
Makes me really want to watch it now.
Honestly, watch it. Like
Also,
I didn't know anything about Daisy May Cooper beforehand.
No.
I think I tried to watch an episode of This Country and like it just hadn't connected with it. And then like the first half of the first episode, I'm sort of like, this isn't for me. Like it's very broad humour. It's like, I'm a mum and I hate being like, you know, I'm now got to take my kid to school. And I was like, this character is really annoying actually. And then you get that like hook of the person filming her and you're like, oh, wait, what? And I was hooked. I watched the whole thing in a day.
The show is written by the two leads.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's really, I mean, because I've seen Daisy May Cooper in like Nevermind the Boss Cocks. So she takes a very, like, she's not playing herself, but she's herself, very much a personality, very loud.
Yes.
So I've not seen her in this, like, not action, but in a dramatic role, similar to what we were talking about with Kevin Hart. So I would have been a bit dubious, but you talking about the show makes me very intrigued to watch.
But the thing is, it's not a dramatic role as much as it is, it's a comedy. Like, you know, the premise of the episode would be like, oh, it's the bake sale tomorrow and we've not baked any cakes. What are we going to do? But
it's like Gavin and Stacey type of thing?
No. That is like the tiny premise of the app. But you still have these big overarching things. We have things that go missing. You know, her trying to piece together. Like, it's honestly a very well woven quilt of story. That's what I'll describe it as.
I've also saw that it's going to get a series 2.
Yeah, it is. Which I'm genuinely confused. Again, I would say This Is Going to Hurt, Am I Being Unreasonable, The Bear, White Lotus, The Mole. These are all shows that I went into thinking, I've got this show's number. Like, I know what it is.
Yeah.
And it's very rare for me as a person who, like, spends so much time talking about stories and putting shows together to be surprised by a TV show. And each of these genuinely had me hooked because I was like, I don't know where this is going. You're just telling me a story and not one that I can already anticipate because I know what the tenets of this story has to be. It's like, I don't watch a lot of procedurals anymore because you kind of get what the format of a procedural is.
Yeah.
You know, you watch, I loved the first few seasons of Scandal, but once you figure out how the episode works, you kind of loses any excitement because she's not going to pick Fix and she's not going to pick Jake, and we're just going to fluctuate from one to the other, and I'm tired of it.
Yeah.
These shows, and I think it's, apart from the White Lotus, them all being first seasons is probably
wise. Yeah. I think that's where we are in terms of TV. Like, we've watched so much content, and I'm not just talking about like us as like who we are and our backgrounds, but I mean just in general, people are so exposed to so much content that the only way you can actually break through with a great TV show or a great piece of content is by surprising people. And that's why you have all these mishmash of genres of like comedy thrillers, comedy dramas, comedy sitcoms. Sorry, sitcoms are supposed to be funny, but like thriller sitcoms. Like, people are trying to mash so many different type of genres because we've seen everything. We've seen every single whodunit or hoodwink. Like, we need something fresh. So that's why, I'm intrigued to watch Am I Being Unreasonable. You've talked about the show before, and I know I should have been watching it beforehand. But yeah, I'm keen to see how it is.
Yeah.
My last show, and we've also reviewed this show. I've done quite a few of our reviews, but it's one that really got me talking for weeks. It's Love Is Blind. I know. I told Marnie before we got on that like I will probably have more of the lowbrow show for my top 5 of the year, but it's because I love these type of shows. I love these type of genres, and Love Is Blind I've loved from series 1. I did not love series 2. But like Maths UK, like Love Island, Love Is Blind series 3 came back with a bang. Had really interesting couples, really interesting relationships. Again, it's showing you a reflection of how dating is in 2022. The way that people can gaslight each other, men and women. The way that people that you thought was something behind closed doors or when you're in the talking stage are completely different or completely different when you actually meet them. People that you think are just calm, nice Nigerian boys are actually 419er scammers. All right, that's a generalization. It's not all Nigerians, but I'm just saying this like
yes.
Yes, I really enjoyed Love Is Blind, and it was one of the shows that get people talking. The shows that even if it's for good reasons or bad reasons, that's the reasons why you watch TV. That's the reason why you have the water cooler moments like with the White Lotus. Yeah. And so if you want to have more discussions or our thoughts, listen to the 2 podcasts we gave to the show. We had part 1 and part 2. Definitely take a listen. It was insightful, and this cast just keeps on giving us more and more stories.
Honestly,
messy,
massive
non-stop.
improvement on the previous season.
Oh, 100%.
Where, like, Shake thought he was going to be villain of the year, and then season 3 came back and they said, guess what, everyone's a villain on
exactly. Pow.
Enjoy.
And even though I really wanted the love, and I always call for the love, and I hope the series 4 brings that love, the drama really kept you going and really intrigued to find out what on earth is happening. So that is my top 5. My top 5s.
So should we try and rank these now?
Let's try.
I think it's easy to say that the Bear is number 1 because it's the one that's both on. It's on both of our lists.
I think we can put the Bear.
We loved her.
We loved him.
I'm talking about the restaurant. I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm talking about the hot chef.
Ooh.
No, I mean, look.
Now you're saying he's a hot chef, but I was saying that you left me out of the cold.
I didn't say he was. I said his vulnerability was attractive. But he needed to have a wash.
And I will not ever unsay this. You can catch me outside if you disagree. White t-shirt, gold chain on a white man is unparalleled. They can't wear nothing else.
The guy looked like he did a real skin routine.
Obviously, he did like to go to a spa or something. Just needed a detox.
He really did. He needed a sleep. He needed some rest.
Rosacea.
Absolutely.
I think was happening.
Yeah.
I would say White Lotus.
White Lotus is
the Bear's number 1.
White Lotus I put number 2 because I did enjoy it.
Brilliant.
From scratch, we have to put number 3. I'm sorry.
I'll allow it.
From scratch is 100% there.
Yeah. From scratch is 3.
Okay, this is where we're gonna get into some really murky middles because I don't know.
Right. Sorry, put your number 4 and I'll put forward my number 4 and we'll see whose number 4 is more victorious.
If I'll be honest, out of the 4 you put, Abbott Elementary.
I would put them all.
God, the mole is not there. The mole is not. The mole is towards the bottom.
It's not. Make your case for why you think Abbott Elementary should go for.
Abbott Elementary is coming for a series 2. TBC for the mole.
Wow.
Abbott Elementary.
I don't think you need to be bringing second seasons into
it.
Okay, I don't think you need to be doing all that.
Let me give you another argument. Okay. Abbott Elementary. It is refreshing, and it is almost one of its kind for this year. The mole, the traitors have come out and beaten it and blown it out. But
doesn't that mean that clearly the mole has created the mold? The mole has launched 1,000 moles.
The mole and the traitors.
The mole has launched 1,000 moles.
I'm saying that. Yeah. I think the mole is an interesting premise, but the traitors executed it better. Full stop. You even
have you even seen traitors?
I don't need to see traitors. People
right, so you don't know what you're talking about.
In your review, you said the traitors did it.
I said the traitors did the mole part of the mole better.
Which is the main premise of the mole.
But the challenge is, don't start.
The premise of the mole is to be the mole. If the traitors is doing the mole better, hence the mole is worse.
No, because in the traitors, the mole isn't trying to sabotage them. The mole just needs to make it to the end. If the mole makes it to the end, they win the money.
I just don't understand how that is a top 4 show of the year.
Fine. Put your little Abbott Elementary, which I actually don't mind being number 4. But the mole's number 5.
But I'm sure if people put Love is Blind.
The mole is number 5.
Okay, the mole's number... I don't... No, sorry.
Sorry, who are you putting for number 5?
Love is Blind.
No.
Love is Blind is 100% better than Mole.
No, it has to be in the second half because too many crimes took place on that show.
Too many crimes took place on the Mole?
Who committed a crime?
Kids took a music card.
Sorry. Put the mole at number 5.
I'll throw you a bone.
I'll dash this whole podcast in the The mole is number 5.
The mole can go number 5.
The mole is number 5.
The mole can go number 5. Love is Blind number 6.
Am I being Unreasonable as number 7?
What have we got left? Upload.
That's 10.
No, Upload is number 9.
No, it's not.
This is going to hurt. It's on number 10.
No, it's not.
This is going to hurt. It's not that great. I would even swap Am I Being Unreasonable and This is Going to Hurt then.
No. Upload is 10. Who was your other one?
That's on mine.
That's alright. Oh, because we both had the bear.
We both had the bear, yeah.
We don't have 10. One of our honourable mentions get to move up.
Yeah, we can put one.
Who was a shared honourable mention?
We had The Ultimatum, Maths UK, Twin the Swindler.
Who do we pick?
The Ultimatum we both agreed on.
Yeah, let's go Ultimatum. Ultimatum.
Was Ultimatum better than Love is Blind? No. Okay.
Where's Love is Blind?
We put that number...
4. 5, 6.
6.
Who's 7?
Am I Being Unreasonable?
Yeah. Ultimatum is 8.
This is Going to Hurt 9. Upload 10.
Yeah. That was easy.
I don't know about the mole. Fam, you put that way too high. I've not seen anyone back the mole on the internet like you. I haven't seen anyone back the mole in general like you.
Wait. Yeah.
Fam, there's a whole new show called The Traitors that do that premise.
Let me finish what I'm saying.
Go on.
I'm going to blame Netflix for this. So Netflix, you little bitch, better open your ears.
Gosh.
You didn't push the mole correctly. You didn't... Let me finish. Let me finish before you put your little marketing hat on. I've got what I have to say.
Go on.
Netflix, you did not push the mole properly. You did not push the mole aspect of the mole. Putting 12 different faces, that don't mean nothing. You need to put one face that's wearing a mole mask. Then people know one person is, guess what? The mole. And you need to you have to put Joy, taking all the money. You need to put Cassie taking the thing. You need to put in the trailers people betraying and sabotaging. Because people want to watch sabotage. Why do you think the traitors is doing so well? Because people love sabotage.
Wait, from what I've seen, first and foremost, the traitors is the exact same thing. They showed an image with all the people there and Claudia Winkelman and the host in the front.
She's the mole.
2, I've seen creative for the mole where they just have a question mark and wrote, who is the mole?
That's not good enough because people don't know what the show is. I didn't know what the show was.
In the trailers I watch, they do land the premise that it's about someone who is the mole and you have to find out who it is.
And I'm saying it could have been better.
I'm just saying, like,
saying Netflix has a lot of money. They shouldn't have buried the mole. They should have uplifted the mole. They should have raised the mole because look how well Traitors has done for the BBC. No, if you push the mole, it could have been
let's be honest. Netflix has a plethora of very strong shows. BBC is hit or miss at best. Any new show will feel like a new show on BBC.
Wow.
Especially giving you have Claudia Winkelman, who's a big face of Strictly Come Dancing.
Wow.
Right now, she's a good face for the show, and so there's gonna be intrigue around the show in general. And then I think I'm just saying Netflix has a bigger catalogue than BBC.
Exactly.
Yes.
And that's why Netflix should have done more.
No, that means that it's certainly so hard for some shows to be discovered versus others. Whereas on BBC, it's a smaller catalogue.
So you're saying, let me just get this straight, Shoshanna.
Small fish in a big pond. That's what the mole was.
Yeah, exactly. So how could you say that the Traitors is better than the mole? It's not. It's on a completely different...
Okay,
it's had a different... I'm saying they're exactly the same show.
I'm just saying in terms of success and in terms of popularity, one show has basically outperformed the other.
Because the mole got buried.
I know.
I am a mole apologist.
I know you're a mole apologist. I'm just saying that I would not have put the mole in number 6. I would prefer to even put Traitors. And the one that you've watched.
We're not putting Traitors because the mole broke the mold.
I think
the mole set the mold.
I'm not saying that the mole is a bad show. I think
everybody is trying to be the mole, but no one can be the mole.
I think it was a great show. The show was cancelled before. Netflix only brought it back to life.
And they can bring it back to life again.
We'll see.
They can.
Well, it's still TBC. I think on online it says it's still
Netflix.
Still
you listen to me. All I respect is the show. If you're not gonna have my shows on, I don't care for you. And that's all.
Fam, basically, money was everyone in the parking lot.
Everyone.
Netflix.
Yeah, because you have actually been the source of a lot of my pain this year.
No, but Netflix also...
You and Sky, both of you.
But Netflix is also...
Square up.
Wait, fam, if you go calculate all the top shows, Netflix is a good chunk of them.
They didn't invent the bear.
No, they didn't, but...
They didn't invent White Lotus.
No, they didn't,
They didn't even invent the mole.
But...
They bought the format.
Yes. Where did you see it? On Netflix. And also...
Am I being reasonable? This is going to hurt? BBC. So as much as you say the BBC's flop era...
I'm not saying it's a flop era. Sky's definitely in its flop era.
Sky's in its flop era.
Sky's in its flop era. But I'm just saying it's like... From a general perspective, we've given a plethora of different shows from a plethora of different platforms. Some are big fish, some are small fish. The Mole, I think if it ever comes back for a new series, I think there's a lot of work that needs to be done. But that being said, we know that this premise works because we've seen the success of Traitors.
I'm saying, and this is what I was going to say before you really interrupted me to try and back Netflix, like the little bitch you are.
You want to get me in the parking lot. You want to have Kevin Hart, David Fisher, Ryan Murphy.
Who's David Fisher?
Who's the other guy that you said? The guy who
David Farr.
David Farr.
Ryan Murphy. Netflix,
Sky, myself. Yep. In the parking lot.
I ain't shook.
Oh, goodness me.
I ain't shook. I ain't shook of
done.
any of you. You guys should be shook of me.
I'm done.
Because I've got beef. What I was going to say is, I think that the mole deserves to be commemorated in the year of 2022, because I think in 5 years' time, I'm going to look back and be like, what time to be alive? The mole.
That's what kids were saying about Fort Boyard.
Exactly, and now we got the mole, so they were right.
I'm done. I'm absolutely done.
I mean,
yeah,
I really enjoyed the mole. I'm not going to back down on that.
You know what? It's good that you enjoy it. Great.
I don't like the attitude at all. I don't like the attitude at all. When you're crying about from scratch, I've allowed you.
Yeah, no, but from scratch was 100% a good show.
It's fine.
It's 100% good. It was
98% good.
It should have been on the. I'm so glad it's on our list, even if it was just me that dragged it on it. But
I like from scratch. Yeah. It's just for me, like, You know, when I think about things that really moved me and changed...
Am I being unreasonable?
Changed
Give me a
the
break.
changed the landscape of TV for me as a person who, in my career. The mold did that.
Look, you've listened to our top 10. If you agree or disagree, at us, let us know. Tell us what we missed or what we should include.
What do we disagree with?
No. If you really are out here to fight. Look, we only give you a small plethora of things that we've enjoyed.
Yeah.
It may not be your biggest hitters in the whole entire world.
Yeah.
But tell us what we should be watching for next year. We want to hear your thoughts. Next episode, we are going to talk about our bops and flops
of the year.
Culturally. Yes. The pop culture moments that got you talking, us ranting, us probably arguing as well. And then things that we're also looking forward to next year.
It's going to be as good as today, if not better. And some people... I'm going to be in the parking lot.
The parking lot is going to have to get extended.
Those people should have actually just been on Flop Island. Why don't we just put them on Flop Island? Why do I put them in the parking lot? No, I want to fight them before they go.
Basically, the parking lot is...
Quick, before you catch your flight.
The flight to the Flop Island.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you for listening. This has been Scripts and Giggles with Shoshanna
and Marnie. Like, subscribe. Engage with us on our social medias.
Thank you.
Buy us gifts.
Bye.